Good afternoon, all of you. Today we have discussed, I think, the attitude. Attitude, we have discussed the definition of attitude. Yes, what is an attitude? Predisposition of values. Socialization of values. Socialization of values is a process through which the attitude develops. But what is attitude? Predisposition with respect to how we react. Okay, how we react means तीन things है. How do you think, how do you feel, and how do you act in a particular way. That is important. Okay, do not forget about particular way towards the. Now that particular way can be favorable as well as unfavorable. So attitude not necessarily mean that what is ought to be. Okay, it can be anything. It is more of a descriptive thing. What is present in a human individual. What ought to be is a function of. What ought to be is a function of what? Ethics and morality. Okay, your attitude will be judged against the parameters of ethics and morals. Okay, so whatever the ethics of society, the attitude is what is your given behavior. Now it can be ethical also, but it can be unethical, depending upon kind of socialization you have went through. So if your socialization has with the all modern rational ethical values, so your attitudinal behavior, attitude which get reflected into the behavior, that behavior as well as the ethical behavior will match. But it's quite possible if the socialization is not in a right direction, so there will be a gap in between the ethical behavior and the behavior that you hold at a given point of time. Okay, so when we define it, it's a predisposition. Predisposition means it's already there within you, okay, through the process of socialization. So predisposition to think, to feel, and to act in a specific way towards favorable or unfavorable towards the socially significant object. Okay, after that we have seen the structure of attitude. Okay, that is a CAP structure: cognitive part, affective part, and behavioral part. Cognitive part related with thinking, behavioral affective part is with respect to emotions, and the final is yes, action related part. Okay, so now we are going to see the aspects of formation of attitude. Okay, the formation of attitude. Now see, when we say about the attitude formation, okay, this can be learned in through different ways. That is, one is the determinants of attitude formation. What are the determinants that help in formation? Determinants of attitude formation. What are the determinants? Yes, in fact, have we studied the determinants? Yes, where we have studied determinants of values, because ultimately this is nothing but the value inculcation. So what are the determinants? Primarily family, yes, school. In fact, these two we have discussed are the most important because they are in the formative stage of life. Okay, yes, peer group. Yes, all are the parts, in fact, agent of society only. Okay, peer group, then media, social media, okay, culture and religion, idols. Okay. So these are the determinants of attitude formation. These are the different agents of social. See, primarily if you see that you will see the attitude formation, the environment in which we live, that affects the education that you take and the experience you go through. Now experience can be over a long period of time. Okay, it can be a function of environment also. That is what you have experienced. Or it can be, yesterday I have mentioned, a catastrophic experience, personal experience, not necessary you just as a part of your environment. Here environment is social environment you are saying. That is about the society, agent of socialization. In fact, education is part of the school, but education is a broader term. Okay, here it can be a formal school, formal agent of education, or it can be an informal education. So whatever method of education, or maybe through your reading of textbook, okay, not a formal textbook, any yes, extra reading that you do, novels, okay, philosophers books, story book, okay, fiction, non-fiction, or for that matter different biographies. So education can come through a different processes, plus your personal experience. Okay, so in fact this is nothing but this only. Okay, this is another way of putting it, that the attitude of an individual is a product of his social environment, his educational value system, and his personal experience, whatever you gain through. So this is two different ways of writing the determinants of attitude. Now, when these determinants are there, what are the mechanisms and the processes which help in inculcating the value? As we see that attitude is nothing but the product of socialization. So what is that process? Say for example, there are different values here. There, when we say that education, experience, and social environment, etc., etc. So how the given values actually go inside the person, okay, his cognitive mind. So this is the determinants, and second part we are going to see is a process of attitude formation. Process of attitude formation, or different mechanisms of formation. Mechanisms. Now this is we are going to learn with respect to, there are different theories of attitude formation. So when we say theories of attitude formation, that is about how the different agent of socialization, okay, different agent or different determinants of society actually influence, how they influence in order to like incorporate the different value system into an individual. Okay, in fact broadly what is the process? Broadly I'm saying that is a socialization. Okay, socialization is the process, but when we say socialization, it becomes a very general term. How actually the socialization happens, why a particular person uphold a particular value from a given society as compared to some other people. So if it is a process, only a socialization, then it's quite possible same people living in the same environment will have a same kind of an attitude. So we see that there are a variety of the things that are involved when it comes to the socialization or imbibing and cultivating a group of value as compared to the other group of values. So this process of social, so we are going to, in fact, our chapter is with regard to this. When we say about formation of attitude, this we have done, and how these values actually go. This is a chapter that is a theories of attitude formation. So there are three different theories, okay, primarily two. That is, first theory is, in fact, socialization is through the method of conditioning, okay, when you conditioned with something. So therefore, this first theory is called classical conditioning, okay, right? The first theory is classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is also called Pavlovian conditioning. Pavlovian, or Pavlov was a scholar who come up with this theory, Pavlovian conditioning. Pavlovian conditioning because it's the name of a scholar, Pavlov. Now see, the thing is that these theories of attitude formation, nobody is going to ask you what are the theories of attitude formation. The question will be in the form of what are the interventions that are required to change the attitude, okay? But to change the attitude, first we'll need to learn how the attitude has been formed at the first instance. So the whole focus, in fact, in the last class, I have spoken about what is the utility of this chapter. Okay, what should be the focus point of study of this chapter? Yes, that is, there are certain bureaucratic attitude that we need to change. There are certain public perception we need to change. There are certain public perception or stereotyping with respect to different social evils of society, we need to change. So basically, the applied part of this chapter is more important. So this is just to understand how the attitude is formed, so that we can use these theories, okay, while writing our answer with respect to changing the attitude in different scenarios or in different case studies also. Okay. So let's see what is this classical or Pavlovian conditioning. See, the Pavlov was a scholar who has conducted one experiment, very famous experiment. So there was a dog, okay, and he has offered certain food. Okay, see, he is ringing a bell. So he is holding a bell, and then he rings the bell. When he will ring the bell, the dog will approach. He will offer him food. Okay, now the point is, when the bell is ringing, he is offering him the food. The moment dog comes and see the food, there is a salivation. Okay, that is the response. Salivation is the response when bell is ring and food is being offered. Now after some period of time, now he is continuing this process. Bell is ringing, dog is coming, he is showing him food, offering him food. So salivation is a response that he has observed. Now he continued this experiment for a long time, and a time comes in where he has removed the food. Okay. Now still he is ringing the bell and dog is coming. What he has observed is salivation happened. Okay, irrespective of the fact that he has removed the food. Okay, so the point here, very point is that the dog started believing that ringing bell and the food are together. That is, there is a cause and effect relationship, and he is anticipating that two things, that is a bell and food, will always happen together. This is an attitude. What is an attitude here? Ringing of bell is equal to food. That's why even when the bell, so this is called conditioning. Conditioning in a sense that conditioning for a long period of time of two different things, although there is no association between them, but still, because the two things have been kept together for a long period of time, you start believing that there is a direct association between the two. So this sort of association happens through the socialization, because we live in an environment and continuously we have been stimulated with the thing that whenever X thing happens, Y thing should be associated with it. And this is called as the Pavlovian conditioning. Okay. Now think of like, there are advertisements also, like most of the time marketing में इसकी theories जो Axe deodorants की वगैरह ad होती हैं, ठीक है? So deodorants are being showed and some congenial atmosphere, like women are flocking around the main counterpart. So this is where if you use X thing, Y thing will occur. Lux की ad है, ठीक है? Close-up की ad क्या है मतलब हमें नहीं पता है. हाँ, स्माइल तो ठीक है, मतलब देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू स्माइल. हाँ, पास आके ओके फाइन. हाँ, तो वैसे नहीं होता है, ठीक है. सो दैट्स द थिंग, दैट इज बिकॉज दैट्स अ कंडीशनिंग. If you take it in a more formal sense, okay, if you see that particularly in India, whenever there is a bomb blast or terrorist attack, we associate it immediately without going into the facts and figure. M element is responsible for it. Okay. Now this is a stereotyping. Okay. There can be a possibility that M element must have involved, but this is a stereotyping. The moment there will be a bomb blast or terrorist attack, we immediately jump to the conclusion that M is responsible. This is what is called a classical conditioning. Now, if you see the Samjhota Express blast, or for the Malegaon blast, okay, Hyderabad blast, okay, these are blasts which are conducted by right-wing Hindu elements. But then, so what I'm trying to say is there can be a radical and extremist element in each religion. Okay, there cannot be a one particular, and also even if the number of frequency of attack by M is more, it does not mean that every single M is a T. This is a stereotyping. Okay, this is a classical conditioning wherein we start painting the whole community with single brush, single color. Okay, and we try to judge. Okay, because we have been told since inception, whenever there is a communal violence, M is responsible. Blast is there, M is responsible. So this is what is a conditioning, depending upon this. I hope the point is clear. Okay, how the conditioning happens. That is called as the classical conditioning. Anything which is unrelated Okay, that is stimulated for a long period of time to make you believe that two things are simultaneous or they occur at the same time. There is a cause and effect relationship. That is called as a Pavlovian conditioning. Okay? Now we will see that how we can use this theory even for changing the attitude also. Okay? Now write the second theory. So इसमें कुछ लिखना नहीं है. इसमें बस nobody is going to ask if at all you have to remember two things which have been conditioned for a long period of time, and we start believing that two things are related with each other. That is how the classical conditioning is. Second, right, that is a operant conditioning. Second is operant conditioning. Now, operant conditioning, you can simply put it in bracket, okay, for your understanding. Reward and punishment theory. Reward and punishment. Operant conditioning, reward and punishment. Now, the theory is simply like whenever we are provided with the reward, we develop a favorable attitude towards it. And wherever there is a punishment, okay, we develop an unfavorable attitude. We have seen in definition of attitude how the attitude is getting reflected. Either we approve of it or we disapprove of something, any particular thing. Yesterday I have spoken about like the attitude of person with respect to politics. Okay, so there can be two different diametric opposite poles where people may favor politics is a good activity and it should be there, or somebody will say that it is a unfavorable activity. Now this attitude with respect to anything that is a social object. Now social object is, it can be a issue, it can be personality, it can be organization. So whether you favor or unfavor, whether you like or dislike, whether you approve or disapprove, okay, this depends upon, okay, this theory says that whenever we have got reward for something, we develop a favorable attitude. And whenever you are being punished, you develop the unfavorable attitude. Now this is very easy to understand, but there are a lot many nuances here. See, here it's very easy for us to understand if there is a good thing in life. Okay, I'm writing here G, good thing in life. If we are rewarded, we developed a favorable attitude. If there is a bad thing in life and we are punished, we developed an unfavorable attitude towards bad thing. Now this is what we have been understanding so far. Okay, but this does not only the things that happens in reality. In reality, it is quite possible that some bad things is happening, but person have been rewarded for it. And then he developed a favorable attitude towards bad thing. Are you understanding this? This is very important to understand how the devils are created in society, how deviants are there, and how deviants keep on justifying what they are doing. Whenever you try to like have a rational dialogues with them, they continue to believe that what they are doing is absolutely right. This is because of the fact that for their bad, they have been rewarded. Now, this reward is not just a monetary and felicitation we are talking about, any kind of verbal appreciation, any kind of thing. Okay, that people have approved his bad thing in his past life. Therefore, he continues to believe that this is the thing which I should do. And this is how it's all the more difficult to change the attitude of the people, because they never thought that what they are doing is actually the wrong thing. Similarly, if something is good and if you have been punished for it, then you develop the unfavorable attitude towards the good things also. Okay, think of honesty these days, particularly if you are working in a government organization and etc. There is a lot of political pressure, and the person who is honest, raising a voice, is mostly punished in a sense that transfer, okay, suspension, okay. So lot many things, change in the department, etc., and he developed the unfavorable attitude, or for that matter, the one who blows the whistle, okay, whistle blowing, okay. So victimization of whistleblower. Now, whistleblowing is a good thing that we understand, but since he is punished for it, it's punished in a sense that it ranges from the telephone calls to harass him, to threaten him, to threaten his family. Again, the transfer, suspension, to an extent of even the threats of killing a person. And in many cases, we see that there is a murder also. Okay, while who tries to raise there is a case of Vapam, where the people are raising the voice against the this educational recruitment system in case of Madhya Pradesh. So this is a sinister agenda that there can be there, wherein if you have been, even for the good punishment, you develop the unfavorable attitude. That honesty is not paying, honesty is, now here it is not good, but here some other way we are not required to display because that's not rewarding. Or the other hand, you think that you are a dishonest, you are, although the public servant is supposed to be a politically neutral. Now, bad thing would be you connive with the political class or develop a nexus with the political class so as to be in good terms with them in order to further their goals. Now think of if you are working in an Uttar Pradesh, okay, and you be in good terms with the Yadavs there, you will get a reward, okay. तुरंत इंक्रीमेंट हो जाएगा, 21 जनवरी को आपको प्रेसिडेंशियल मेडल, गवर्नेंस मेडल मिल जाएगा. And the one who is taking the action against the sand mafia, this mafia, that mafia, you will be shown the places, okay, कि कौन सा mafia and what not you are doing. So the point is, ultimately the person takes the cue out of this, that in a system it's better, okay, to remain in good terms with the political class, because that is how you have been rewarded for that. Otherwise you have been transferred to a department where actually you can't do anything. Have you understood? This is not only about when you are in future, but this also related with the past learning, because here we are talking about socialization. Think of your family. Generally this is easy to understand, bad things punished, but think of any bad thing you have done, but your peer group or your family has approved of it. What do you feel? You will develop a favorable attitude towards that particular thing. So this is how, why we see that family, school, peer group, they have a lot of influence in the life of person. I hope the point is clear. Yes? Edward Snowden. Yes, that's we will discuss all those things. Whistleblowing के dilemmas है. There are ethical dilemmas for the whistleblower. Okay, ethical dilemmas of whistleblower में ही रहता है कि what is your nature of job, what is the nature of information you are exposing. Now think of if you are an member of IB and a RAW. Your job is to maintain the confidential information, and now that confidential information is for the national security purpose. Now then you are exposing the information, saying that the government of India is saying that there are 600 nuclear weapons, but my account is 510 only. Okay, government is unnecessarily telling they have the 600 nuclear weapons. So because I think that it is in the larger interest of society, because I feel that their life and security of Indians are important, and whether we are really prepared against the Pakistan and China, I want the countrymen to let them know that they are not very secure. Now this is a whistleblowing in the larger public interest. But the very point is your job and the nature of information. So there are many dimensions comes into picture when we say exposing the information. So this we will study. We have one chapter called whistleblowing and the dilemmas of whistleblower. So when like yesterday we have discussed about the different dimensions of ethics. So likewise we are also going to see different ethical dilemmas. So आपको एक dilemma cross करना पड़ता है whenever you are exposing. So it's not, even we think that exposing the information is right thing to do, but as a part of an employee of a given organization, there are certain protocols also you need to remember. Okay? So in that respect, we'll see that what is the standard operating. It's actually a topic of 1.5 hours. Okay, what is the whistleblowing, what is the ethical dilemmas, what are the ethical issues, what is code of conduct, what is code of ethics, and then how you need to exhaust first internal mechanism, then you go to the internal whistleblowing and then go to the external whistleblowing. ठीक है, yes certainly these things are important, but यहाँ पे attitude formation से related कैसे, मतलब क्या पूछना चाहते थे? नहीं, that is good and bad, that's a separate thing. How it is, what was the point in attitude formation? What was your? No, so the thing is that that is what I'm saying. Absolute truth has to be seen from point of view of the other ethical measures also, and likewise you will be rewarded or punished for it. Okay, from obviously from US point of view. Now what will be like in this case which I said that IB information is leaked, for the Pakistan and China's point of view, you will be obviously an hero. Okay, वहाँ पे न्यूज़पेपर में आ जाएगा, पाकिस्तान टाइम्स में, वहाँ पे फ्रेंड फिलोसोफर एंड द गाइड ऑफ पाकिस्तान हैज़ बॉर्न. ओके, चाइना में भी ऐसी न्यूज़ आ जाएगी, फ्रेंड फिलोसोफर गाइड, सोलमेट. That's again a very prejudiced and stereotyping that must have happened. This is what we have to learn. Are you understanding? Now this is when we say about the personality, the moment you come about and said that he is anti-national, this is what we have to learn, because you must have lived in a context wherein this type of stereotyping that has happened. So we have to analyze the things before even giving a knee-jerk reaction that what is about. If he is so, why the National Security Act is not applied and he should be put behind the bars? As simple as that. We have the laws in place. So that is called National Security Act. If he is anti-national and objectively being proven, one should go and catch him and send it into the bar. Are you understanding? So the point is, it's not about Kejriwal, it's not about Modi. इसीलिए मैंने बताया था, social object is a person. It can be an issue, it can be a circumstances, it can be a particular capital punishment like thing. So stop coming with this binary reactions, 0 and 1. Okay, binary reaction is a part of those people who tend to get into the more absolutism. We don't want to go into the absolutism. As a civil servant, we are expected to see the different dimensions which is happening in between this. There are more stories here, okay? And there has to be more objectivity to what we are coming with as an expression of an attitude. Okay? So this is a point with regard to, I hope the point is clear, reward and punishment. So do not jump to the conclusion all the rewards is developing a favorable attitude, all punishment is developing the unfavorable. It's quite possible that good things punished when unfavorable attitude will happen. We will use these theories in, say for example, the youth of a society is getting driven by addictions. Okay, in case of addiction center, the attitude is developed in such a way that you adopt a particular thing and you get carried away by drug addiction or liquor addiction or smoking, etc., etc. Now, it will be given to you that this is an unemployed youth of a particular district and you are being appointed as a district magistrate. Now, as a district magistrate, what are the steps that you are going to take to change the mindset of a youth so that they should not take the path which is full of paths such as, say for example, drugs and this addiction. So what is the attitudinal change? So in such cases, you are expected to bring this reward and punishment theory. Now most of the times we see that the advertisements which carry, whenever there is addiction, there is a punishment in a sense that, say for example, advertisement will show you that if you consume the smoking, so it is associated with the cancer. Okay, so that is a sort of the fear that is being created. But the psychoanalytical studies have shown not only the negative association with something, but the positive association is also helping changing the attitude. At the same time, you should also show, like say for example, a person who is addicted, this is a negative thing that is happening, but the person who is de-addicted, some good things is happening also. Are you understanding? So positive association with respect to reward. Okay, if the person will leave these things, he will be given certain amnesty. Amnesty in a sense that some facility, some package facility will be given to it. Like say for example, in case of this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Andolan. Now the attitude is parochial attitude with respect to the girls. Girl as a liability rather than as an asset. Okay, So this attitude has to be changed. Now this attitude will be changed when the girl is being born. Some sum of money will be deposited in your account. Then if she completes the primary education, some more money. Secondary education, some more money. So this is how the girl as a liability is getting converted into girl as an asset because of the reward that is given. So naturally your perspective to look at the girls suddenly got changed. Okay, so this is how you have to utilize. We'll discuss that in case of attitudinal change, how the things are being used. Now write the third theory. Third theory, that is a social learning. Social learning. Now social learning is not specifically different from what we have discussed. The only point is here the person learns from the other's experience. Like when you are in a society, what is the difference in between first and this third is, first two में क्या है कि you are an active agent, whether it is operant conditioning or whether it is a punishment and reward, that is happening on you. Okay, you are going through classical conditioning or you are being punished or rewarded for something. Here you are a person who is at a distance, neither classical conditioning nor thing that is happening to you, but there are people in a society, say for example somebody has done the crime and then he has been punished. So you are not being punished per se here, but you learn that committing a crime is a wrong thing to do. Okay, or somebody has been a whistleblower, say for example, and he has been rewarded. He has been rewarded, so you will develop a positive attitude towards the whistleblowing. Or same thing, if there is a whistleblower and you have been punished. You have been punished. So you will develop a negative attitude towards the whistleblowing. Negative attitude in a sense that you think that if I do the whistleblow, okay, there will be a more disadvantage because it will threaten my life, it will threaten my career, it will threaten the near and dear ones, etc., etc., and therefore you develop a negative attitude. Or think of something like, say for example, you are again working in any Naxal affected areas, you are newly appointed IAS officer. Some of your senior officer, okay, commissioner working in a Naxalite area, okay, he has done a lot of good work and on 26th of Jan he got a presidential award. Okay, now naturally you will think that since this person has done a lot of good things, therefore he has been given reward. So good things, reward, you will see that this is a good thing. Okay, your attitude towards administration would be good, that if you also work diligently, okay, with a dedication, then you will also be rewarded. So you have developed a positive attitude by learning from the others that if X action is there, he has been rewarded. Now think on the contrary, the same thing. He has done a lot of good work, but then the government has transferred him, government has not rewarded him. Some other way he has been victimized for the good thing he has done. So naturally what do you think that, okay, I have to take into account that this sort of a work is not leading me anywhere. Okay, so that sort of a attitude again get developed. So here essentially it can be an operant conditioning or it can be a classical conditioning, but nothing happens to you. You learn from the observation, you learn from the other things. I hope the point is clear. So there are three things, that is a classical conditioning, operant conditioning and social learning. Okay, so this is the three different things of formation of attitude that we call the socialization or conditioning methods. Again, I am repeating, nobody is going to ask you specifically what are the different theories of attitude formation, but nonetheless, you are going to use this theory for attitudinal change. Okay? Now, in fact, that's the second part, like you write the next, that is theories of attitudinal change. Theories of attitudinal change. Theories of attitudinal change. Now, this is why we require first of all attitudinal change. General point of discussion, why we need attitudinal change. In general, I'm asking. For better cooperation, okay. What else? Cooperation among whom? Need of the time. Yes, what else? For carrying out better duties in the field of work. Okay. What else? Yes. Yes, but negative attitude towards desirable things, because negative attitude towards undesirable thing is fine. Are you understanding both the things, as we have said in case of operant conditioning? So something, or simply call it some undesirable attitude, okay, because of his process of socialization. But now we need to have a desirable attitude. Now, say for example, in any organization you take, whether it is a private organization or public organization, every organization will have certain code of conduct and code of ethics as their principles. Code of conduct and code of ethics are to ensure a particular behavior, whether it is an organization or whether it is a profession. In fact, we have discussed these things. कहाँ पे किया था? Determinants of ethics में एक रहता है कि वहाँ पे individual factors, organizational and professional factors, and national level. See, organizational and profession will also want to maintain certain behavior. Let's say desirable behavior. Desirable behavior. Now, this desirable behavior of organization is depending upon what kind of organizational values they hold. If it is a private organization, they require a people who will increase the profit for their organization. Okay, efficiency, effectivity, profit generation, revenue generation, marketing, these things will be more important for them. If it is a public organization, what sort of values will be they want is a dedication, empathy, transparency, compassion, etc. So depending upon different sets of profession, different sets of organization, society, okay, there are certain things which are desirable. Okay, irrespective of whatever your attitude is there in the past. Okay, now to ensure this, now it's quite possible some people may possess them, but some people may not possess them. So that's why there is a training, there are aptitude tests, etc. They are taken so as to judge what is important from the organizational point of view. Okay, so when you go for the interview, whether it is a private organization or public, or for that matter, even if you are going for the interview to an NGO organization, okay, or private organization Reliance, or organization like civil services के लिए UPSC. So different organizations have different values, and depending upon their values, they will try to pick up whether this person has this particular inclination or attitude or not. Okay, so it's quite possible in the past you may not possess those attitude, but once you have been picked up, now picked up के बाद भी वहाँ पे they will try to incorporate these values in order to reorientate your attitude with respect to the requirement of or the needs of. First, in the first instance, all the efforts are being made in order to pick up a person, okay, which is in sync with the organizational. Are you understanding? First, while the interview is there, they want to pick up those people who already have that attitude, because as we have been seeing, that attitude cannot be changed overnight. Okay, so it's not that easy process. Now think of a certain person who wants to make a lot of profit, and he is going to go into the NGO. Now NGO where we required to work in the yes, in the rural hinterland, or maybe at the decentralized level where you required empathy, compassion, dedication, etc. Yeah, think of the person who is sort of having an attitude for the social activism, okay, but he becomes in a private organization. Now it becomes a mismatch. So in such cases, what is required is your attitude should be matched with the what is a given behavior. Now this given behavior, therefore sometimes we need to require to change the attitude also, because 100% of the times it's not possible that your attitude match with the attitude of organization. This is only from professional and organizational point of view we have seen. It can be a society also, like in the past maybe you have lived in a particular family or in a particular culture, but when you become an adult, like say for example civil services, you are expected to bring more rational secular attitude. Now it has never affected you, because if you belong to a particular religion, so in that religion there was never been a situation where you require to show the tolerance for the other religion. But now once you become an IAS officer, you are expected to bring more objectivity to your decision making. So therefore there is a need of changing in attitude. Or for that matter, so long you have been working for your personal business, okay? So in case of personal business, you have always thought of like how you can increase your profit for your organization. So self-goal, self-oriented, egoism, self-interest, family interest, that has become the most important thing for you. Now, once you become a civil servant, again, the welfare is become more important. So this change in attitude is required over a period of time in sync with the what is required for the organization or for that matter for the society. Therefore, we think of changing the attitude. Now, here, as I have said, that since the attitude, now here you have to put an attention to two different things. See, when we say about the change in attitude, what are the different parts in attitude? Thinking part, emotional part, and action part. Change in attitude means changing in all the three parts. Okay, your thinking become new thinking, your emotional, and your action, A dash, T dash, and A dash. This is a change in attitude. But this, as I have said, it requires a lot of time to change. So sometimes what organization do, कि उसकी thinking और emotional component नहीं change कर सकते, लेकिन you will ensure the action, that is a behavior in a given situation. Action or behavior in a given situation. Because this thinking and emotional part is a product of your long-term socialization process. And as I have mentioned, this family and school, okay, over a long period of time, they imbibe the values. So there is a theory called planned behavior, okay? Theory called planned behavior. Now, planned behavior will ensure that minimum this action, like say for example, civil services के लिए एक है कि political neutrality as one of the value. Political neutrality, objectivity as one of the values. Political neutrality and objectivity is a value. What does it mean? That as a civil servant, you should not favor or disfavor, okay, favor or disfavor any political party or political ideology. That is what is called as political neutrality. Now, what we want is actually the people should think that there should be a political neutrality. But even if, say for example, you may not have a cognitive ability to be a politically neutral, you may not have emotional thing, because that's the product of your past. Depending upon your past, you may have a preference for the particular political party or political ideology, but political behavior, this planned behavior will try to minimum ensure that you will be politically neutral. Okay, this planned behavior is ensured in the form of code of conduct. Code of conduct में क्या रहता है? Code of conducts are rules and regulations which tries to maintain the particular behavior for a person. So code of conducts, so if you are violating the code of conducts, you will be given a notice. Okay, so this is something, an external force, that if you do not behave in a particular manner, you will be sent a notice and there will be certain punitive action which will be followed by it. But this is not the attitudinal change. What I'm trying to say is planned behavior is not a part of attitudinal change. Planned behavior is simply a cosmetic change in order to ensure a particular behavior in an organization. So this is what we have to learn, what is not attitudinal change. What is not attitudinal change is simply changing an action. If there is a gap in between what we think and what we feel and what we actually do, if there is a gap, so that's not an attitude. Are you understanding? This is just a typical planned behavior. Again, this typical planned behavior, say for example, there are different professions where we think of going for this planned behavior. Like if you are moving in an aeroplane, okay, and you are sitting there, say for example, one person is sitting in an aeroplane, and after sitting in an aeroplane, he pushed the button, okay, aeroplane ka. A air hostess comes in and he asks for a glass of water, okay. So a glass of water is offered with a beaming smile on her face. So he thinks that he wants coffee now. So he's again pressing the button. 2-3 times it has happened. Now, number of times you press the button, you will have the same behavior, in spite of the fact that this air hostess must be thinking who must have planned this given him tickets, okay, to fly, because it doesn't seem like he is belonging to the so-called civilized class. So the point is, in spite of whatever she thinks or feel, she will continue to behave in a same manner. This is called as theory of planned behavior, because this profession will require you need to show a courtesy there at this particular point of time. We will see that what are the negative impacts of planned behavior in a long run, and to what extent planned behavior theory is also a successful theory of attitudinal change. Because see, the point is why I'm saying this planned behavior is not very successful theory. Think of this incident is happening with the air hostess frequently. Now a time will come, she will try to question that this is like every day when she is in her leisure time thinking, this is not what I want, this is not what I expect. Okay, there is a gap in between what I'm doing and what is happening. So a saturation point will come. The saturation point is called as cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means there is a conflict in between the thoughts. Cognitive dissonance. It's a sort of a psychologically stressful situation. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive is cognitive is thinking process, and dissonance is a conflict. So conflict happens to such an extent that you feel depressed. You feel anxious, and therefore you're not able to contribute to your profession fully, because there is always a gap in between what you think and feel and what you actually do. So therefore there is a more focus upon, first of all, picking up those people who already have the inclination, or there is a change in attitudinal change that is required. Okay, so I hope the point is clear why we are actually thinking about changing the attitude, because there is a desirability even when we can ensure the planned behavior, but in the long run this is not a very good, because person cannot able to contribute more productively towards the organization. So now we'll learn what are the theories of planned behavior, and we'll also see what is this particular aspect. So first, write the theories of attitudinal change. Okay, in fact the first theory and the second theory going to be the same as that is a cognitive. I'll just write and I'll explain that. Cognitive नहीं, classical conditioning. पहले नाम लिख लो. Classical conditioning. Second is operant conditioning, and third is theory of persuasion, which is our most important point of discussion. Persuasion. These are the three theories. I'll explain one by one. Classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and persuasion. Persuasion. These are the three theories of. Now classical conditioning means, say for example, I have given this thing that whenever there is a terrorist attack, we relate with the M. Now this is a stereotyping that has happened in the past. Now you can bring some M and plus certain good aspect of them in order to disseminate this conditioning for a long period of time. Like say for example, on Facebook and etc. these days some good stories are being showed that this is a community and they have done good things also. This is because in the past this was the conditioning. Now in order to remove this stereotype, we can make a new conditioning also. So if you keep on telling that yum also can be a good, so this stereotyping can be converted into some sort of a tolerance, or at least we will reduce our thinking to a part that all M are not T or all T are not M. Are you understanding? So classical conditioning, आपको जो desirable character है X and Y, जिसका association बनाना है, you can pick up any two desirable things. You can condition the person with a long period of, like creating a awareness. We say that these people were not aware, therefore they keep on, ignorance था. They keep on thinking about this X and Y are related, which is not true, and new X dash and Y dash you will try to imbibe in them. Are you understanding how the classical conditioning, which has helped you in having a stereotyping, the same process can be used for bringing the new attitude also if you associated two things for a long period of time, two desirable things for a long period of time. Okay, religion and secularism. You can associate it and you can keep on telling religion, all religion, as well as all good values of all religions. So any kind of a desirable behavior. Think of, say for example, police system. Classical conditioning आप देखो, मूवीज़ देखते हो बॉलीवुड के अगर पहले के, सो जब पूरा खेल ख़त्म हो जाता है तो पुलिस इज़ कमिंग. Okay, so we have been stereotyped. Indian police system is like this because they always come late. Okay, they don't do the and they are ineffective, they are passive, etc., etc. So this is a stereotyping. Now this must have been true also, but if the public will continue to have this stereotype that police is always bad, think of how the administration is going to work. Okay, so police will also try to put certain good things through the social media that we are also doing good, and this is a new conditioning, classical conditioning. So if you have been imbibed that in such situation police has helped the disadvantaged people, in certain situation police have helped the people who are harassing the women. Now most of the times we stereotype that all the police, like yes, there are certain maximum number of cases where we see that when women after atrocities goes into the police, okay, there is a harassment of her, there is no filing of complaint, etc. But yes, there can be some group of people who must be helping the women in order to file the FIR also. Okay, so one should not stereotype everything, that is a generalized. So this new conditioning also will help you in changing the image. Okay, in fact this is the very why I'm giving the example of police. One of the police reform is the changing the image, how the public see towards the police system, or for the whole aspect of police system. So this is a classical conditioning that can be helpful. So any kind of two desirable things you can put together in order to bring the new change. Is that fine? Now come to the reward and punishment. Nothing much is required to be discussed here. That whenever any desirable thing, okay, you want to change the attitude. Say for example, parochial attitude was girl child, as I have said. Girl is a liability. This was an attitude. Now you reward the birth of the girl, and now girl becomes the asset. Okay, so this is a new attitude which will be developed towards it. Second, it can be, say for example, family planning. You have been given, yesterday I have spoken about it, that is if you are appointed in a particular district and the district has a very high growth rate, you have been given certain specific target with respect to family planning, and you have been said that this is a target that you should achieve in a stipulated time of 5 years, say for example. To your surprise, you have seen after joining the department that mostly whatever required for the family planning, all the programs are already launched. There is nothing new that you can launch there. Okay, already the programs are there. But what you have seen, there is a tendency on the people, okay, in order to embrace this particular different programs, because there are certain cultural and traditional reservation with regard to different techniques that are used in the family planning. Now, say for example, one technique we are talking about here is vasectomy. Vasectomy is sterilization of male. Okay, there are two, tubectomy and vasectomy. Okay. Now, say for example, male sterilization. Okay, in a simple way, male sterilization. So, because we know that maternal mortality rate is very high. Okay, and maximum maternal mortality happens during the time of pregnancy, and during the time of pregnancy, generally when second child and third child is there, we also accompanied pregnancy with respect to family planning operation. During the pregnancy, she goes through the lot of blood loss, which is accompanied by again tubectomy, which threatens her health. So in such context, we are also promoting, which is less invasive and more health friendly, vasectomy as a technique. Now there is a cultural thing that how can male go for the family planning operation. Okay, now this is attitudinal change how we can bring. The attitudinal change through the operant conditioning you can bring. You can simply put up those people who are going for tubectomy are going to receive 1,000 rupees per person, but the one who is going for vasectomy will going to receive the 10,000 rupees. Okay? That is reward and punishment in order to change. Now this is not an incentive for the wrong thing. Once they will go, they will learn that there is nothing as such as wrong about it. People without embracing something or adopting something, there are certain prejudices, there are certain myths Okay, so this myths can be diffused once people start living with it, and in fact this becomes a part of classical conditioning also. Over a period of time you will see that tubectomy is a less health hazard. Okay, and this becomes a classical conditioning, and this is how the attitudinal change can happen. Are you understanding? Family planning, or for that matter family planning और भी है, ये तो केवल फैमिली प्लानिंग के तरीके बताए. स्मॉल फैमिली नॉर्म आपको करना है. Nowadays, like the government of Haryana and the Rajasthan has come up with the eligibility criteria. Okay, what is the eligibility criteria? That Panchayat Raj election cannot be fought because of the educational, some minimum educational criteria they have said. Some, what else they have said? Class 5, whatever the educational criteria is there. Now think of, you put a one criteria in that the person, this criteria is already there in many of the states, that yes, more than two families, more than two kids if you are having, then you are ineligible for the Panchayati Raj elections. This is operant conditioning, because you will be punished for having a maximum kids and you are being rewarded for having less number of kids. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Okay, that you are eligible if you are having a small family norm. In fact, you can go one step ahead of it. You say that if there are two kids, then the higher education will also be free. Okay, for two kids, and if there are three kids, obviously it will not be. This is how you have to change the criterias. समझ में आ रहा है ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग कैसे हो रही है? स्वच्छ भारत अभियान जो अभी चल रहा है, ओके, उसमें भी ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग है. ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग कैसे? 10,000 rupees फॉर having a toilet, okay, or it is operant conditioning. See, operant do not see in the form of only financial incentives, any kind of recognition and reward also. So those people who are going for complete, like, open defecation free village, so there are different awards, okay, for the recognition. Yes, what are the awards? हाँ, निर्मल भारत अभियान वगैरह, उसके अंडर काफ़ी सारे अवार्ड्स है. सो दैट ऑल्सो रिकग्निशन विल चेंज द बिहेवियरल एंड द एटीट्यूडनल कॉम्पोनेंट, दैट यस दिस आर द गुड थिंग्स. समझ में आ रहा है? फाइनेंशियल इंसेंटिव्स और एनी काइंड ऑफ द रिवॉर्ड फॉर द डिजायरेबल थिंग्स, दैट इज कॉल्ड द ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग. इज इट फाइन? ओके, नाउ कम टू द थर्ड पार्ट, दैट इज अ persuasion. Persuasion. Now write the separate chapter. Okay, this is, we have to study in detail. Persuasion. Yes, persuasion में, yes, what is a persuasion? Persuasion, right, the persuasion is a method of attitudinal change. Persuasion is a method of attitudinal change. Attitudinal change through the democratic means. Through the democratic means. Okay, this is not through the coercion. If there is a coercion and the force, it is not a persuasion. Okay, when we say about the persuasion, it involves the changing the attitude of someone through the democratic means. Now you can write the different aspects of persuasion, right, in continuation. Different aspects and parts. Different aspects and parts of persuasion. Persuasion can be studied by analyzing. Can be studied by analyzing following statement. By analyzing following statement. Okay. So following statement, so you can write here, who says what to whom? Who says what to whom? By analyzing following statement, who says what to whom? So in fact, you have to write, now there are different parts of persuasion, that is who, what and whom. So who is a source? What is a message, and whom is audience or the target. Audience or the target. So there are three parts of persuasion: source, message and the audience. effective persuasion depends upon all the three things. Okay, so if you see, in fact, you can write one question. Okay, question लिख लो एक. What do you understand by persuasion? What do you understand by persuasion? What are the different parts of persuasion? What are the different parts of persuasion? Question mark. What are the different factors? What are the different factors that affects? What are the different factors that affects the effectiveness of persuasion? What are the different factors that affects the effectiveness of persuasion? Effectiveness of persuasion. Okay. So there are three things here. What is a persuasion? What are the different parts of persuasion? And what are the different factors responsible for effectiveness of persuasion? So more the effective, more will be the chances of attitudinal change. Less effective will be the less chance of attitudinal change. Now write again, इसका आंसर भी लिख लो, मतलब पहले स्टार्ट से लिखो. Definition of attitude, this persuasion. What is persuasion? First, that is a definition of persuasion. Persuasion is a method of attitudinal change towards a desired end. Method of attitudinal change towards a desired end by the democratic method. This democratic method, in bracket you can write by method of convincing. Okay, not a coercion. Okay, by method of convincing person. So it's a method of attitudinal change toward desired object. Your desired object is already clear, that in which direction you want to change the mindset of a fellow being, and this is you want to change through the method of convincing and persuasion. It's not like you are taking a gun and bullet and at point head you are saying, okay, now think of in a new direction. So that's not a persuasion. Okay. So persuasion is essentially involves the convincing ability in order to change the things. Now write the second. There are three different parts of persuasion. First, the source. That is persuader. Second, the message. This is the content of, content. And the next is the target likho. Target. That is the audience, okay, to whom you are persuading. Now write the next, that is different factors that influences the effectivity and outcome of persuasion. Different factors that influences effectivity and outcome of persuasion. Now see here the different sources. Now write within source के अंदर कौन से factor है, message के अंदर and audience के अंदर. So first you see the source. So source के अंदर factor, the first, so point wise ही करना है आपको. First is the credibility of the source. Second is authority, and third is the liking factor. In fact, you have to see here, everything in fact starts with the audience. Okay, this is in the eyes of audience, how is the source? Okay, that the persuasion is effective only when the audience considered that there is a credibility. Okay, the one who is persuading, there is a credibility. He has an authority, and there is a liking factor between the audience and this thing. What is the credibility? Okay, trust, authenticity. Okay, this is related with the trust. This is related with how authentic. In fact, this is a function of two things. That is, one, you believe in, and second is you think that he is having some more knowledge than you. Okay, whatever the other person is trying to convince. Okay, there is a credibility. Now, if it is this, so authentic, is authentic. There is a trust. How much? Yes. Genuine, obviously. So in that respect, that is a trust. Genuine component is with respect to trust. But in case of a formal persuasion, it's not just about the trust, but about the capacity and the ability. How much the person has this is a part of how much he is an expert on a particular issue. See, when we will be a credible source, something the audience knows that X person who is going to persuade knows something more, he is an expert in it, then only you will get convinced. Okay, any Tom, Dick, Harry coming and telling you, okay, this is what has to be done, and etc., etc. So obviously you will not get persuaded, or the audience will not get persuaded. So that is why in the eyes of public, the credibility is important, and credibility is a function of obviously the trust, and second is a function of his knowledge or expertise. Okay, so both the things. Second is authority. By what authority somebody is telling. Okay, that's again important. Power in the sense that, see, the thing is, if Barack Obama is giving one speech, okay, as a US president, and if the same speech is given by another member from the White House, okay, now we are talking about here the content is essentially same. Content is essentially same, but if it is spoken by the US president and the White House, there will be a more influence with respect to this. So here the authority will change the nature in which the audience is pursuing the things. So for example, in case of a village, if the mindset requires to be changed, any person from that particular village who understand that this is an optimum or this is what is a desirable attitude for the community, and if he gives the speech, nobody will listen. If the district magistrate go there and on, say for example, Independence Day or Republic Day, and throw some light on a particular issue, people will get more convinced because of sheer authority. If Chief Minister will go, again more authority. If Prime Minister will go, the authority will increase. So by sheer authority, by what authority somebody is telling, there will be an issue. This is all the more important in case of formal persuasion. Like say for example, in case of an organization, you are an superior and you want to convince the subordinate. So subordinate ko jab convince karna hai, more and more higher ups are coming and addressing the people, there will be a more convincing. Are you understanding the role of authority? By what? In fact, you see, this is not only in case of formal things, in informal also, like say for example, in family, if the attitude has to be changed. You think of your younger siblings are telling you something, even when they know something good in their area, their expertise, or you will say that, oh, do not tell us, okay, we have seen a lot, okay, so keep your suggestions with yourself. The same thing is being told by your father or any the person who has an authority in your family. So obviously you will show more compliance with their viewpoints. And the last factor is the liking factor. In fact, this is very, very important again, particularly those people who are illiterate, those people who are never gone through the formal process of socialization, such as education and etc. So for them, the liking component, okay, that's why we see that most of the time celebrities and role models are roped in, role models, in order to persuade the rural masses. Okay, so celebrities, why the celebrities are roped in? Because say for example, immunization campaign is going on, and people traditional, there is a traditional and conservative elements within the masses, that if we go through immunization, it will cause more harms. So the Amitabh Bachchan is coming forward and saying, "And do boon zindagi ki." Okay, that's why you go for the polio drive. So this is not just a coincidence, but this is because the celebrity, because they consider from their eyes, it may not be the credible and authoritative source is important. See, we are not saying that in all the situation, all the three components will play its part. Okay, in some cases, the only liking factor will be a more effective, and therefore people will get convinced easily. Think of यहाँ पे जो है यही immunization का drive बताया था. You are thinking of credible source, so you have brought in somebody who is doing a research in Virology Institute of Pune, who is working upon the immunization. And then he is coming and telling that, okay, this is like live vaccine, attenuated vaccine, we are decreasing its pathogenicity, and therefore it will be very useful. दो चार वहाँ पे टमाटर तब तक गिर जाएंगे उसके ऊपर कि what this alien person is telling. So you have to first understand your audience. Okay, audience, here the audience, he is a researcher, he is a scientist, but still he is not a very good person as a matter of a source when it comes to the convincing the illiterate population. Think of the other way around, same चीज़ है, आपको convince करना है कि this immunization का जो vaccine है is very effective and therefore we should go for the commercial utilization of it. Okay, now the community is the scientific community which is sitting there, and now you bring the celebrity. Okay, सलमान खान आ गया वहाँ पे बता रहा है कि कैसे immunization की vaccine अच्छी है. So that will also again go boomerang, because here the audience is the scientific community, so you need certain formal person who can convince them. So ultimately it depends upon the audience, what kind of the credibility, authority and the liking factor is there. Okay, so this we have to remember, because in various case studies it will be asked, what are the different methods of persuasion and how do you go about it. So you have to keep an eye on this credibility, authority and liking factor for a effective means of communication. Is it fine? So source. Now come to the message. Okay, what are the things which are involved in the message? See, here there are again broadly two things. One is what is the content of message, and second is manner of delivery. Manner of delivery. Content of message and manner of delivery. Now content of message, it should be more logical, okay, which establish the relationship between what you are going to persuade. It should be more simple and easy to understand. Easy to understand. More convincing in a sense that. Now, depending upon again the audience, your content will change. Okay. Now I'm putting it as simple, but think of, as I have given an example, if there is a scientific community and there is a very formal thing you have to, like here you may come up with very facts, figures and different sorts of argument. If you want to convince that climate change is happening and there is a need that we should take action against the climate change. Say for example, you are in UNFCCC in conference. Okay, you have to persuade the scientific community. What is this? United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay, so Paris Summit, Rio Summit, okay, this kind of international summits are happening. So here you may have to come up with more logical explanation, more facts and figures, more complexities, so as to convince the scientific community. Whereas if the audience is where the people are cutting the forest and using the smoking chula, you understand? Okay, where they are cutting the trees for the fuel, there you have to convince, so the message will be rather a very simple and direct. So depending upon the audience, but the point is it should able to establish a cause and effect relationship. In short, it should able to tell them the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of going ahead with the new idea and disadvantage of going with the bad idea, what they are actually possessing. Have you understood? So likewise, you can articulate content of my persuasion will be this, depending upon audience. The question will mention that who is the audience. So depending upon that, you can write that my content will have this in point of favor of new attitude, desirable attitude, these are the advantages, and in point of undesirable attitude. Okay? Now the manner of delivery of message. This is advantages and disadvantages of desirable attitude. Okay, this should be simple, logical. There is nothing like it depends. It completely depends upon issue and audience. What sort of issue is there, and what is this audience? Manner of delivery. Yes, not medium तो वो रहेगा. That is but obvious. हाँ, yes, local language और आगे जाओ उसके. See, it starts with yes, presentation, communication. See, it requires from the pitch and the tone. You should be very polite and etc. Okay, convincing ability, pitch, tone of your language. So this is a part of LANGUAG. Pitch, tone. Not only just the language within which you are telling, the pitch and tone, so that it should be more convincing. Second is audio visual aids. Yes, catchy lines, slogans, etc. So audio visual aid. Then slogans. Yes, that is a catchy line. Slogans. In fact, all this, there are different forms. Like if you go into the Nukkad Natak, you know, skit. Okay, particularly in case of rural area, Nukkad Natak. That is a skit. In bracket, you can write skit. Then placards. Placards, you know. Placards are ये जो slogan, banners. Okay, placards. Then you have a different competition. Say for example, environment को आपको change करना है. So there are different poster competition in schools in order to, like essay competition, poster competition with respect to different things. So placards, Nukkad Nataks, your graphics, audio visual, slogans, the pitch. Okay, so there are the different ways of, this is open-ended, yes. हाँ, yes, there are different debates, so different school competition. एक ही में लिख लो उसको, ज़्यादा मतलब अलग-अलग मत बनाओ. There are, to create an awareness, different competition, poster, essay, allocation competition, extempore on different topics in order to create the awareness and convince. Okay, or there are like जो यही है slogans or Nukkad Natak, all of you know. Okay, so this is through method of drama or the skit, you convince the public. Now come to the audience now. What are the things that has to be mentioned? This question can be asked separately. As I have said, theories of attitudinal change, nobody is going to ask, but this persuasion, जो question लिखवाया है, this can be a theory question also. What do you understand by persuasion, and what are the factors responsible for effective persuasion? Plus, they can also write one particular issue, that there is a parochial attitude with respect to the caste. What are the interventions that you will make in order to change the attitude of people in a particular village? Okay, so it may have a tail end in the form of a particular issue, and you have to devise a strategy and a plan in order to change the mindset. Okay. Now audience may say, in fact I have said that everything starts with the audience. So आपको क्या क्या factor है कि उनकी ideology क्या है? Okay, what is their ideology? What is their value system? एक ही है. Okay, ultimately you have to see what is their preference and choice, because ultimately many a times it happens, forget about the persuasion, it becomes a counterproductive. Okay, once you do not you do not go sensitive with their ideology and their value system. Okay, say for example tribal areas में आप persuade कर रहे हो, and then something you come up with which affect their customary and traditional tribal values. So in all such situation, that may become so more counterproductive rather than convincing them. So ultimately you have to also understand their preferences and choices, what can be negotiated with and what cannot be negotiated with. Sometimes the issue is very emotive. It does not mean that you cannot persuade, it only means that you have to recalibrate your different aspects, content, manner of persuasion, source, in order to match with their value system. Okay. Because ultimately emotional component is also important, because in persuasion it is a method through the democratic means. So democratic means you have to invoke not only their rational chords but also their emotive chords. Emotive chords in a sense that समझ में आ रहा है? So they should get convinced with you. So that's the point overall. you have to remember in case of persuasion, and these factors will determine the effectiveness of your persuasion. So many times we come across the things that people have gone for persuasion, but the thing is exactly the opposite has happened, and people in fact become more intense with respect to their original attitude, because the kind of the rapport that should have been established between the persuader and the audience has not been established, and they get involved in the conflict, and the conflict, say, obviously both will become more and more radical. Okay, so this is one of the important theory of attitudinal change. So we have done the three theories, that is a classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and method of persuasion. Okay, apart from that, how do you change the attitude? Okay, though these are not attitudinal theories, but you should able to maintain that. That is theory of planned behavior and theory of retributive. Theory nahi hai wo. See, these three theories: classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and persuasion. Through this, you change the attitude. You ensure that X behavior is a behavior, or good behavior is ensured by changing the attitude. But since you cannot change it, you can maintain this good behavior, okay, by other methods also. That is theory of planned behavior. And through different code of conduct or laws, stringent laws, that's also help in maintaining the good behavior. But they are not attitudinal change. I am only saying how to maintain a good behavior. ये दोनों समझ में आ रहा है? Law में you will still show on a ground a behavior what is required, in spite of the fact that whatever is there in your mind, whatever is your thinking, because you fear of law or code of conduct or theory of planned behavior. Planned behavior, that is in fact through the code of conduct. Okay, the planned behavior is ensured. Are you understanding? So, but this is cases wherein if we cannot go for it. Ethics and attitudinal, this chapter is basically talking about we need a reorientation of the values in the desirable direction. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? लेकिन एक केस में अगर आपको ये नहीं पूछा जाता है कि एटीट्यूडनल चेंज अगर लिखा है तो आपको इतना ही लिखना है, ओके, प्लस यहाँ पे ये लिखना है कि through the method of this law and the planned behavior, I will also ensure the given behavior at a given point of time. Okay, जैसे आप लास्ट ईयर एक केस था कि कास्ट से रिलेटेड, ठीक है, 2014 में केस क्या थी? Okay, in fact, if you have written this too also as a point of a note करके लिखो कि ये आपको case studies में लिखने को काम आ जाएगी. Apart from these three things, the planned behavior करके mention नहीं करना रहता है. Just आपको लिखना है कि code of conducts and legal stringent methods will be there so that people's behavior will be ensured. In fact, you can forget about this word planned behavior. Okay, ultimately what you have to write is code of conduct and the stringent legal methods or implementation of the laws. Or I will tell that if you will not follow, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि पहले प्यार से समझाओ, नहीं तो उनको deter भी कर दो. If you will not observe this behavior, then there are legal and constitutional action will be taken against you. So that is a warning, so that their behavior can be changed. Okay, so like I am coming to the now different aspect of this thing. प्लान नोट करके प्लान बिहेवियर के बारे में ब्रैकेट में लिख लेना. ये कुछ पूछेगा नहीं, लेकिन फिर भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. ब्रैकेट में लिखो प्लान बिहेवियर नोट. हाँ, हाँ हाँ, यस सर्टेनली. यस. Yes, that is a operant conditioning. Yes, certainly. That is what. See, at a given point of time, this is for our convenience. We have divided into different things so that we can make a different interventions. Somebody will make an emotive appeal. Somebody will make a rational appeal. Somebody will provide the benefits and punishment also, if they are not using some punishment also, not in this case but different cases, or some conditioning in a sense that you tend to show that the one who is going for the cashless is getting benefited. So cashless benefit, this conditioning will be there. This is a classical conditioning. So cashless is related with benefits. So this is a classical. Yes, certainly you have to include, but do not use this word except the persuasion. ऐसे नहीं है कि Pavlovian conditioning करके headline लिख के, आपको essentially Pavlovian conditioning ही use करना है, but उसको descriptive form में लिखना है. You don't have to write operant conditioning. You have to simply write, if this behavior is there, I will reward and punish. Persuasion में obviously you can write persuasion. This you have to take into account because technical words, okay, should be avoided, such as this theoretical. Ultimately, question will be asked, what are you are going to do? So you start directly describing what you are going to do, okay, rather than mentioning it. Yes, now, yes, what I was telling? Plant behavior. Yes, write something about plant behavior. Plant behavior is a theory. Plant behavior is a theory which focus on ensuring the desirable behavior, desirable behavior at a given point of time, at a given situation. Desired behavior is a theory which helps in maintaining a desired behavior at a given situation. Okay, different organization and professions require certain kind of minimum behavior to be observed. Different organizations and professions require certain minimum behavior to be observed, certain minimum behavior to be observed in order to ensure the productivity of organization and profession, and to uphold the values that organization and profession stand for, ये समझ में आया सबको क्या है? All of you have understood that certain minimum behavior is required by employees in order to ensure the productivity as well as to uphold the minimum set of values that different organization and professions stand for. So the ideal situation is you need that kind of people who has exactly the same value system as that of organization and profession. But if it is not, then at least the theory of plant behavior focuses to maintain the behavior. Now you can write in the next paragraph, plant behavior is ensured through incorporating different codes of conducts, in organizational policy, organizations or professions policy framework. Now this minimum code of conduct obviously will ensure your behavior. Now write this, okay, in the next line. The plant behavioral is not necessarily a theory of attitudinal change, wherein person is reoriented towards new value system, person is reoriented towards new value system. Yet it ensures minimum behavior in a given minimum behavior of an employee in a given organization or profession. Okay, so this is something which we are putting from external pressure through the code of conduct. So put it in bracket, okay? Everything has to be put in bracket. And apart from that, code of conduct is specific to organization, but apart from that, there are legal things also. Say, for example, congenial atmosphere at work environment. Code of conduct will also be there, and generally the legal system. Say, for example, sexual harassment at workplace. So there will be an FIR filed against you. So law will also help in maintaining the behavior. Okay, that is a code of conduct. So some code of conduct will be backed by the laws also. So some of the serious offenses and for which there is a criminal element, there are already law. Apart from law, the organization will also have the code of conduct. Okay? And the larger part is like change in attitude. So this is how you can ensure. Now this is it about this chapter of attitude that we have seen. What is it? In fact, I would have taken the utility now, but we have taken the utility already. Remember this. What is important from the civil servant's point of view? Why it is important, okay, from the civil servant's point of view. Still, you write one more question. Okay, write your question now. What do you understand by bureaucratic attitude and democratic attitude? What do you understand by bureaucratic attitude and democratic attitude? What are the advantages and disadvantages? What are the advantages and disadvantages of both of them? Advantages and disadvantages of both of them. Question mark. Is it possible, right? Is it possible for a civil servant to have or to adopt both bureaucratic as well as democratic attitude? Is it possible to have or adopt both democratic as well as bureaucratic attitude? Okay, write for 5 minutes whatever you know from the understanding that we have done so far. This was the question which was asked last year, okay, 2015, which you haven't taken an efforts to see through the papers again. Have you seen? It is not required. This is the competitive civil service examination. There is not a graduation कि जितना मिलेगा उतने में पास हो जाएंगे. Yes, right. In fact, yesterday I have given you half of the discussion already. दिया था या नहीं दिया था? Huh? Almost half things we have discussed yesterday. Bureaucratic attitude, democratic. In fact, once you see and understand these concepts, then all the paper will be very easy for you, that how to place the different things in perspective, right perspective. Yes, that's it. Let's discuss. Okay, go ahead. Hmm. Healthier the democracy said democracy. Healthier will be the bureau. हाँ ठीक है हाँ. Hmm. 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 हाँ. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. 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 So you have addressed only the third part. Is it possible to carry democratic? See, your question should be very close to, your answer should be very close to the question. Question क्या पूछा था? What do you understand by? तो वैसे एकदम systematic जाना है. What do you understand? फिर क्या लिखा था? What are the advantages and disadvantages? फिर क्या लिखा था? हाँ. So, see, even if you have a content, you will lose the marks. Okay, हाँ. बाद में. हाँ, yes, go ahead. हाँ. अभी मॉडिफाई मत करो, जिन्होंने लिखा है वैसे ही रहने दो. हाँ. हम्म. 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 आपने ठीक है, आपके उसमें कंटेंट है अच्छा, बट द पॉइंट इज you have differentiated democrats and bureaucrats. Here we are talking about attitude. Bureaucrat is the same person who is adopting the different attitude. Same person, okay, ठीक है. Then you should use the word democratic attitude of a civil servant and bureaucratic attitude of civil servant. Person is same, but he is adopting the two different attitudes. Yes, yes. Just a minute. Hmm. Rigid profession. Hmm. 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 Yes, but how can you write both the for both the advantages and both the disadvantages? In fact, we are trying to see there are certain advantages of bureaucratic, which may be the disadvantages of democratic, rather than going in collective. First part is fine, but second part में अलग-अलग चाहिए. Are you understanding? Okay. हाँ, yes, you. उसके बाद आपका नंबर. हाँ, be loud. Yes. Good. Which element? Okay, ठीक है. हाँ. Hmm. 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 If it is a sensitive matter, then okay. हाँ सेंसिटिव में आप वो करो, लेकिन सेंसिटिव फ्रॉम पब्लिक पॉइंट, व्हाट इज ए सेंसिटिव फ्रॉम पब्लिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, यू अडॉप्ट डेमोक्रेटिक. ठीक है, यू हैव टू स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन. Okay, in fact I will go rather a different way. When there is a communal and these things are involved, you need to be more democratic. We'll see that how it is democratic. Yes, I got your point. There will be a chance of hampering of impartiality and objectivity that you are seeing. We'll discuss on why democratic attitude should come first in all such cases. Yes, you. Hmm. 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 Yes. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, yes, good. That's a perfect, मतलब near perfect answer. Except for the third part, और आपने उतना ज़्यादा उसको consider नहीं किया है. Yes, new point है तो बताओ आप. Because repeating the same points. हाँ. अरे उतना हाँ ठीक है. नहीं ऐसे why you are taking that for assuming. There is a possibility that people have the whole the components. All the three components must be there also. इतना नहीं जाना है. That's what I said, that what is the information, you have to use the information close to your answer. You should have this art of writing. Okay, that is filtering what is not required and addressing the question. Okay, even if you are writing less, but if you are addressing more accurately without writing the extra, you will fetch more marks. Okay, so knowledge having is one thing, and processing that knowledge according to the question is another thing. Why people score marks? There is no dearth of talent in Rajendra Nagar or Mukherjee Nagar. Okay, so whoever is going for UPSC civil services, a serious person I am saying, more or less the knowledge is not very different. It's art of writing, how you are addressing the question, which part you are writing more, what kind of the treatment you are giving to the question, presentation, handwriting, okay, articulation and organization of answer. These are the points which fetch you the more marks. Otherwise, there is some time is required in initial time in order to gain the knowledge. But once you acquire the knowledge, everybody at the knowledge point of view is at same table. That's why you have to adopt this attitude of writing the answers and how you can fetch the most marks from starting itself. Okay, if you are going to think that I will venture my answers directly into the examination hall, so that is not going to happen. Overnight change is not happen. Okay, therefore you have to adopt this attitude from now onwards. Okay, let's now discuss the things. Okay, see bureaucratic. See, the simple thing of division is, question is asked, what do you understand? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And with respect to advantages and disadvantages, this was the question. If there are certain disadvantage and certain disadvantage of both of them and advantages, therefore we have to both adopt bureaucratic as well as democratic in order to cancel out its disadvantages and gain its advantages. In order to cancel out disadvantages of democratic and gain the advantages of bureaucratic. So first, like what is the meaning of bureaucratic attitude? In a meaning, do not write following the rigid procedures. Why? In meaning, you should not write bureaucratic attitude is following the rigid procedure. If I use the word rigid, what does it gives the message? It's a negative. Okay. Yesterday I have explained that if the rules and regulation have been created, okay, there is a reason, there is a rationale for creation. When you write a rigid attitude, it becomes a prejudicial, that is a disadvantage. You are looking from the negative angle. So simply first write that bureaucratic attitude involves taking the decision making or ruling based, taking the decision and the action based upon rules and regulations. Okay, taking the decisions or functioning of bureaucracy based upon the rules and regulations. That is the bureaucrat. ये कल discuss हुआ था already. Okay, rules and regulations. Advantages. Okay, simple advantages. First is this brings the objectivity, that you don't get swayed away by your subjective consideration because rules and regulations are there. It brings the impartiality. It brings the impartiality. It brings the political neutrality. Okay, because you will not get swayed away by your political ideology or favor or disfavor for any political party. So, political neutrality. So, this will help in maintaining this, and therefore more effectivity and efficiency of administration will be maintained. But these are the primary roles of rules and regulations why we follow, so as to remain impartial. Be it any person, we will have a same treatment based upon the merit or based upon what we are supposed to do. Okay, now there are certain disadvantages. Here you can use this particular word of rigidity. Now what is happening here is, because you are giving only focus on rules and regulation and completely blind eye towards the people's aspiration, demands, problems, needs, hurdles, okay, completely colorblind. Because yesterday I mentioned that if it would have been a developed society, this problem would not have arisen. But we live in an underdeveloped and developing societies. We live in a heterogeneous country. So people, poverty, illiteracy, heterogeneity, cultural preferences, etc., etc. There are a number of things. So if you do not put in attention and pay attention to their problems and only consider rules and regulation, people might think that system is very rigid in its approach. So the disadvantage is too much of focus, too much of rigid, it leads to the rigidity. Strict following the rules and regulations will lead into the rigidity. Okay, yes, बाकी सब आ गया. Rigidity आ गया मतलब you are apathy. कल लिखा है तो ये. That is bureaucratic apathy. That is being insensitive and indifferent towards the public opinion. This will lead into the status quo. Status quo is that you do not change or resistance to change. This becomes your elitist, that you are serving the only the elitist class rather than giving. So there is no public orientation. Are you understanding? एक ही है. There is only one point. There are not four different points. There are four different ways of writing same thing, that you are rigid and you do not listen to the public. So that is a rigidity, being bureaucratic apathy, स्टेटस क्विज्म और एलिटिस्ट ओरिएंटेड. एलिटिस्ट इसलिए है क्योंकि जो प्रेजेंट रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस है वो एलिट को फेवर करते हैं, बिकॉज द प्रेजेंट स्टेट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हैज़ इट्स लिंक विद द कॉलोनियल सेटअप. कॉलोनियल सेटअप में मास्टर को फेवर करने के लिए रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस थे. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स द ब्यूरोक्रेट्स रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द पॉलिटिकल क्लास, okay, rather than directly responsible to the public. So lot of things within the structural administration which involves that he favors the political class, because his transfer, his appointment, his service condition, his increment, everything is in the hands of political class. So how you can expect him to ignore the interest of political class, because it is going to hamper him. If he would have been put a direct responsibility towards the public, then he would have stood as strong. But that is how the complexity of procedure is, that he is responsible or in a way through the political class. But वो यहाँ पे नहीं लिखना है, इतना ही लिखना है, because we are talking about bureaucratic. Now come to the democratic attitude. इसमें भी यही लिखना है, the decision making and the governance is by democratic methods. Okay, by democratic methods. What is the democratic methods? Democratic methods, that is by consultation of public. Okay, by developing a consultation, deliberation with public in order to evolve the consensus. Consultation and deliberation with public in order to evolve the consensus. So decision based upon the consensus. Decision based upon consensus is a democratic attitude. So while taking the decision, you do not make arbitrary decision, but you go into the public, you ask for their opinion, and then through the democratic method, you bring the consensus and then take the decision. Okay? Are there advantages of this? First of all, what are the advantages? This is a public oriented. Okay, public orientation. Okay, yes, participation. This will show the empathy, compassion towards the public. Okay, this is not a rigidity, but rather this is a responsive and flexible. This will bring a more responsible and flexible attitude of governance. In fact, all these three things, if you are involving the public, showing an empathy, being responsible, etc., okay, this will increase the trust and the legitimacy of the governance. Public relationship, etc. Okay, क्या लिखा था? Legitimacy. You understand legitimacy? Okay, people will have a more faith, trust, okay, in a government, and whatever the decision government takes, the implementation of decision will be very smooth because people are first consulted while taking the decision. So there are things like public orientation to the, so in fact this is a philosophy of good governance. Good governance says that it should be people-centric, citizen-centric approach. Are there any disadvantages? Yes, first of all, it will take a time. It's a time-consuming process. Time-consuming process. Second is, it's not always possible to evolve the consensus. Okay, it may not be possible to evolve the consensus in all the situation, but still there has to be. We will see in the good governance, even if the consensus is not possible, still democratic attitude should be there, so that people should at least not feel that we haven't been consulted at all. See, finally when you take the decision, you take, say for example, you are going ahead with the 10-point agenda. You consult the public. You may not agree, but at least you can drop something 1 and 2 which are very, very sensitive, and then go ahead with the 8 points, 7 points. Are you understanding? So consultation has its own impact because it increases the trust and the legitimacy of the government. So time consuming. Second is, it may not be always possible, okay, to take the decisions, to evolve the consensus. Third is, ethnic clash नहीं है यहाँ पे. Do not write that. In fact, it will avoid that. If you become a rigid, then it will give rise to that. Okay, so यहाँ पे वैसे नहीं होगा. यहाँ पे एक criticism ये आ सकता है कि आपकी impartiality and objectivity जा सकती है, लेकिन that's not a point to be considered, because ultimately democratic attitude is only you are building the consensus. It means what is unreasonable, you are not going to take a decision. ठीक है, decision will be obviously based upon the rational aspect. See, यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है कि जो public बोल रही है वो decision ले लो is a democratic attitude. Democratic attitude is you just involve them. Ultimately, you are going to take a decision. It's not that the public and the masses is taking a decision for you. You are just merely consulting them. So, अगर यहाँ पे आप subjectivity लिख रहे हो तो आप पूरा का पूरा मतलब the soul of answer is getting missed. तो आप कैसे करोगे? फिर subjectivity है, फिर objectivity. So both will not coexist only. We are saying this is a means and this is a final end. Okay, or for that matter, in certain situation, as somebody has said, when the cases are very sensitive, it affects the larger masses. It affects the different minority communities or heterogeneous population. Those people, because in case of a democracy, number prevails. So in a given case, it is quite possible you may take the decision which affects the minorities. Minorities here, we are talking about numbers. Okay, weaker section of the society, not just a linguistic and religious minority. Okay, minority is anything less than 51%. So more and more consensus building, you have a effective decision making, it will develop a trust, and this will be in fact contribute for the governance also, because many times when you take an arbitrary decision without consulting the public, next day you see the protest, next day you see the mudslinging, next day you see that opposition stalling the process. This is because while taking the decision you haven't involved into the decision making. So at the end of the day you have to write an answer that yes, both bureaucratic as well as democratic. See, do not, again यहाँ पे advantages लिखे मतलब इसको निकाल नहीं देना है. Ultimately you need certain rules, regulations, laws and constitutions in order to run the government. Okay, otherwise it will create a sort of anarchy if you don't have the rules and regulations. So rules and regulations plus democratic. So in fact ये आपको ये करना है, केवल ऑब्जेक्टिविटी नहीं है, तो हमें पब्लिक ओरिएंटेशन, एम्पैथी, कंपैशन, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, दिस आर द एडवांटेजेस, प्लस वी नीड टू ब्रिंग ऑब्जेक्टिविटी एंड इम्पार्शलिटी ऑल्सो. ठीक है. सो अल्टीमेट डिसीजन जो होता है वो आपका इम्पार्शियल एंड रैशनल होता है, बट टू इन्वॉल्व द पब्लिक. सो इन द थर्ड पार्ट यू कैन राइट that yes, both bureaucratic and democratic attitude can go hand in hand as per the demand of the situation. As per the demand of the situation, say for example, जैसे land acquisition issue है, tribal issues हैं, okay, or for that matter any issue which is affecting the downtrodden section of the society or larger section of the society. In such cases, those people are to be consulted. There is a thing called as stakeholders. Stakeholders मतलब क्या रहता है? Yes, the one who is getting affected directly and indirectly by a particular decision. So when you think about tribal deforestation or bringing any kind of thing for their favor, so they are the direct stakeholders who are getting affected by their decision. So involving them into the account is what we call a democratic attitude. In fact, the Supreme Court in different situation directly, indirectly suggested about it. You must be knowing in Odisha, there was a Vedanta plant, Vedanta aluminum bauxite plant. तो वहाँ पे जो है protest चल रहा था. Dogri Khond tribe is there. So there is a Niyamgiri mountain or hill. Okay. So in Niyamgiri mountain, so there was aluminum bauxite Vedanta power plant was to be about to come. So in that case, the tribal community has not been consulted, and there was a emotive issue, cultural issue, tribal issue, so many things were involved. And then later on, Supreme Court has come up with the judgment that they have cancelled the Vedanta aluminum factories consent, and they have asked them to go into the Gram Sabha and take the Gram Sabha consent. So this is in fact where we see the adoption of the democratic attitude, that those people who are getting affected should also be consulted. So these are the cases in case of land acquisition, etc. In fact, we have the term called environmental impact assessment, social impact assessment. Have you heard of this term? So before going for any kind of a big dam project, plans, special economic zones, flyovers, industrial activities, etc., etc., nowadays Government of India has adopted this approach that you have to go for the environmental impact and social impact assessment prior to making the decision. So this is an approach that they are adopting, the democratic attitude, rather than merely going through the rules and regulation. Again, there is something called one size fit all approach. Which is that approach? That is a bureaucratic. One size fit all approach मतलब एक आपने rule न्यू दिल्ली में बना दिया, and without taking into account of the different needs and situation of local area, you have simply adopted that particular approach. One size fit all ऐसे आता है कभी कभी, पढ़ते हो आप योजना कुरुक्षेत्र वगैरह. Okay, one size fit all approach may not fit into the diverse and heterogeneous country like India. So adopting a democratic attitude at the local with respect to demands is something that is needed. I hope point is clear. Okay, so both are equally important. That is the point I am saying. Even if democratic is there, bureaucratic. That's why when you are writing in a plain and benign way, write this much. Do not be overcritical, because bureaucracy is about rules and regulations. But along with rules and regulation, we need to also be public service oriented. Okay, so that's the attitude. Now, yes. हाँ यस बैलेंस है, लेकिन कुछ एक सिचुएशन में दे आर म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव समझ में आ रहा है. यू कैन नॉट हैव बोथ ऑफ देम. ठीक है, तो उस सिचुएशन में डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द सिचुएशन यू हैव टू पिक अप वन. सेंसिटिव इशू है, अफेक्टिंग द लार्जर मासेस, अफेक्टिंग देयर इंटरेस्ट, यू हैव टू गो. बट इन सर्टेन सिचुएशन यू हैव टू गो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द ऑब्जेक्टिविटी ऑल्सो. ठीक है. हाँ यस. Yes, that is what we have said. See, the thing is, when there is a possibility that he gets swayed away, that's why he has to uphold the bureaucratic attitude also, that he has to maintain the objectivity and impartiality in democratic attitude functioning. जैसे आप किसी से मतलब different section of society है, groups है, उनसे suggestion मांग रहे हो, तो you should not get swayed away by one particular interest over the others. In that also you need to bring objectivity and impartiality while taking their suggestions also. Yes, so that point is obviously, that's why we are saying that this should not be also forgotten. See, whatever the information, let the people speak. We are just asking their opinions कि आपका कहना क्या है. At the end of the day you are not. This is only about consultation process and evolving the consensus. आप एक consensus evolve करोगे which will be a rational for the country's benefit or the society's benefit. Democratic attitude nowhere means that you take the decision as per the masses. You involve the masses in order to reach to the decision. ठीक है? I hope the point is clear. नहीं है कुछ एक सीक्रेट, जैसे नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, इसीलिए तो बोला ना, डिसीजन विल डिपेंड अपॉन द सिचुएशन. सर्टन नेशनल सिक्योरिटी थिंग्स आर देयर, ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट एक्ट्स के अंडर आपको कुछ करना है. सो इन सच सिचुएशन कॉवर्ट ऑपरेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड, सो ऑब्वियसली यू विल नॉट कंसल्ट. दैट्स व्हाई डिपेंडिंग अपॉन सिचुएशन यू हैव टू गो अहेड विद इट. नहीं ऐसे नहीं है. फिर कंसल्टेंट का क्या है? वन शुड बी सेंसिटिव टुवर्ड्स द पीपल. इनफैक्ट वी गो एंड मोर than that, when the rules and regulations are also to be framed at the first inception, there should be also democratic attitude that is to be adopted. That's why we say that the law, when they are formed, okay, only procedure should not be followed, but the due process should be followed. ठीक है? Is it fine? Okay, तो उसमें तो वो आ ही नहीं रहा है, वो separate ही आ रहा है. What is the use of consultation if you are at the end of the day take the decision only on the rules and regulation? ठीक है. हाँ. Yes, that is a cases of ethical dilemma. We will, sir, will discuss over a period of time. कि how flexibility, like there are certain discretionary power for the local bureaucrat. He can make certain exceptions to the rule. One. Second, he can consult to the higher authority in order to take the suggestions, whether he can make the exceptions. Third thing, in this given situation, he can go by the merit and then write a feedback that in this particular situation, this consultation, this kind of consideration should be made while making the framing the policies. तो बहुत सारा अलग अलग उसमें आ जाएगा. ओके, वो केस टू केस, जैसे आपको केस में इंफॉर्मेशन दी गई है वो देखेंगे हम. This is just, we are, see, the first 5 chapters are just to understand all the different dimensions of ethics. After having completion of first 5 chapters, then we have all the, that is how there are dilemmas. And in that dilemma, we will learn that in certain situation, 1, 2, 3 things has to be picked up. अभी हम अलग अलग parts of body डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, उनके फंक्शन, हर एक चीज़ का अलग अलग अपना पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट है. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर लर्निंग एंड देन वी विल हैव एवरीथिंग टुगेदर. ठीक है? इज इट फाइन? सो दैट्स अबाउट द एटीट्यूड चैप्टर. if you want to ask anything, please ask, otherwise we can move to the next, that is aptitude and foundational values of civil services. In fact, just make a list of कि आप brainstorm कर सकते हो इन सब issues के ऊपर जहाँ पे attitudinal change के question पूछे जा सकते हैं. Okay, so write different sorts of different issues which requires which can be asked. Okay, different issues, list of different issues. Yes, patriarchy as an attitude. Patriarchy. Second, communal attitude. Communal, that is religion related. Third is caste-based discrimination. Caste-based discrimination and change in attitude that is required. Okay. It may also involve the untouchability. It may involve, there are different things. Okay, any kind of caste-based prejudices. Then next is related with cleanliness, attitude with respect to cleanliness. Okay, जैसे आ सकता है कि स्वच्छ भारत अभियान has been launched, but things have not changed on the ground. What are the attitudinal change or behavioral change you will suggest in order to make some sort of intervention to make the program more effective? Okay. नहीं, एडवांटेजेस एंड उसके एडवांटेजेस तो क्या आप बताओगे आप? नहीं, ऐसे नहीं पूछा जाएगा कभी. मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग के एडवांटेजेस क्या है नहीं पूछा जाएगा. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया विल नेवर गोइंग टू आस्क ऑन दैट डे. इफ इट इज गोइंग टू आस्क व्हाट आर द एडवांटेजेस, द स्ट्रीट्स विल बी ऑक्युपाइड. ठीक है. क्वेश्चन दे विल आस्क इज व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग एटीट्यूड्स दैट एग्जिस्ट. सो गवर्नमेंट नहीं बोलेगा कि उसके एडवांटेजेस है, बट दोज पीपल हु होल्ड द पेट्रियार्कल एटीट्यूड ऑब्वियसली दे आर होल्डिंग बिकॉज ऑफ एडवांटेजेस. सो मेल शाउनिज्म जहाँ पे एग्जिस्ट होता है, या दोज traditional conservative elements of society, why they are upholding patriarchy, there you have to write the advantages कि उनका viewpoint क्या है, why they are not living the patriarchy. So you have to write, and therefore they are sticking to patriarchy. Then and so the question, there can be two kinds of question in each. जो भी question है, जितने भी issues हैं, पहले issues लिख लो और फिर मैं बताता हूँ question कौन कौन से हैं. फिर attitude with respect, change of attitude with respect to different addictions. Okay, different addictions and attitude towards it, drug, smoking, etc. Okay, then attitude towards corruption and honesty. This we are going to see attitude towards corruption and honesty in probity in governance. Okay. In fact, the question can be like, there are so many laws, code of conduct, code of ethics, guidelines, in spite of the fact that why there is so much of corruption in the administration. So what are the attitudinal issues? Yes, so these are any kind of social evil. The manual scavenging वगैरह भी लिख सकते हो आप. ठीक है, cleanliness, manual scavenging, etc. Untouchability, attitude towards section 377. Okay, LGBTs. So these are the different aspects, political attitude and moral attitude. In fact, that's something I'm going to discuss from right now, because that's mentioned in the syllabus also. Political and moral attitude. Political and moral attitude. In fact, ये जो caste के ऊपर लिखा हुआ है, caste discrimination, the question was there. I think yesterday I have mentioned about it. जो chapter start किया था मैंने. क्या question बताया था आपको? याद आ रहा है? कुछ डिस्कस किया था मैंने कास्ट के बारे में. अरे पेपर क्या देखना है, कुछ याद ही नहीं आता है क्या आपको? हाँ, रिजर्वेशन का बताया था, नहीं बताया था कि देर आर राइट फॉर ईच वन ऑफ देम देर कैन बी टू टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन, थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन इन फैक्ट. वन इज व्हाट आर द कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड्स दैट एग्जिस्ट इन द सोसाइटी ऑन ईच इशू. ओके, जैसे सेक्युलर वाले हैं तो उनको रिलीजन को ज़्यादा, बहुत ज़्यादा उनको महत्व नहीं देना रहेगा. जो कम्युनल है उनको ज़्यादा देना है. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सो फॉर ईच वन देर इज अ कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड हाउ दे सी टुवर्ड्स द कास्ट. कास्ट हैज अ लाइफ फॉर देम, फॉर सम वन कास्ट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट हर्डल इन द नेशन बिल्डिंग प्रोसेस. ये कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड हुआ नहीं हुआ? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? ओके, सो व्हाट इज द फंक्शनल इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ इट, दोज हु आर अपहोल्डिंग इट, एंड व्हाट इज द डिसफंक्शनल इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ इट, दोज हु आर नॉट होल्डिंग. उसके बीच में भी रेंज रह सकती है, जो कि रिलीजन इज इंपॉर्टेंट बट नॉट फॉर नेशन बिल्डिंग, कि ये इंपॉर्टेंट है बट नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू शुड क्रिएट अ नेशन और नेशनल फीलिंग बेस्ड अपॉन द रिलीजन. कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Okay, there can be a different range of attitude. So one question on each is, what are the different contrasting attitude with respect to all these issues. Patriarchy में वही है कि patriarchy some traditional conservative people will be upholding based upon their religion, culture and traditional aspect, and some people must be questioning patriarchy as a hurdle for the gender equality or this egalitarian society. ठीक है? So this is how you have to prepare contrasting attitude. Second can be, these are the prevailing negative attitudes in the society. उसमें caste attitude नहीं दिखा होगा, discrimination on the basis of caste ऐसे लिखा होगा, जो negative aspect है. How if you are appointed as XYZ person, okay, that is devise a strategy in order to change the attitude of people. Are you getting? So this is the second type of question. And third type of question, it will be articulated in the form of case study. एक case study में दिया होगा कि ऐसे ऐसे village है, ऐसे है, how you are going to change. If you go through the last question paper, last years and previous years, you will get number of questions. Okay, जैसे caste base के ऊपर हैं. आपने किसी ने लाया भी नहीं है? Any one of you have the paper? You can read it out, one of the paper. Yes, pass me this thing. This is it. Wait. It's just I'm reading the question, okay, in order to just make you understand what is the nature of question. You are a sarpanch of an panchayat. There is a primary school run by the government in your area. There is a midday meal scheme. Midday meal is provided to the children attending to the school. समझ में आया? आप सरपंच है, गवर्नमेंट का स्कूल है, एंड उसमें मिड डे मील स्कूल प्रोवाइडेड है प्रोग्राम. द हेडमास्टर has now appointed a new cook in a school to prepare the food. However, it is found that the cook is from the Dalit community, and almost half of the children belonging to the higher caste are not allowed to take the meal by their parents. Okay, consequently, the attendance of the school falls sharply. Okay, because they have appointed the Dalit cook, so the people from the higher caste, their parents are telling that you should not consume the cook prepared by the Dalit community. Consequently, the attendance of school is falling. This could result into possibility of discontinuation of midday meal scheme, thereafter the teaching staff, and subsequently closing down the school, because the attendance is going down, then teaching staff, and then obviously it will lead into the closing of the school. Now, question is saying that what are the discuss some of the feasible strategies in order to overcome the conflict and create the right ambience. Second is, what are the responsibility of different social segments and agencies to create the positive social ambience for the accepting such changes. Okay, अब यहाँ पे आप बोलोगे कि यहाँ पे attitude word नहीं लिखा हुआ है. Are you understanding what this question is? That is a attitude of higher caste towards the Dalit community, and this is how it is getting reflected. So as a sarpanch of the village, what are the feasible strategies that you can think of? Now strategies here can be a short term as well as the long term. Okay, short term में आपको तुरंत क्या करना है in order to stop the closing down of the school? हाँ, so That is a solution. For the time being, so somewhat other way you have punished. You have adopted that attitude that okay, he has to go for some time. Yes, what can be the feasible strategy? Yes, that can be. That is, leader should lead by the examples. Okay, if there is a aspect with respect to um, the the food that is being prepared by the Dalit cook, so you go and demonstrate to them that you are also eating from the same food that is being prepared by the Dalit, in order to demonstrate to the parents that there is nothing wrong with respect to the food that is being prepared by the Dalit. What else? Hmm? Hmm. Hmm. Meanwhile, huh? And then, yes, how do you go about it? For the short term, yes, this is the thing that you have to continue with that cook. You have to call upon the Gram Sabha meeting, okay, under the, yes, Sarpanch, and you have to advise them that the constitution, okay, speaks separately about the, okay, that discrimination of Dalit on the basis of the caste as a unconstitutional thing. There are Article 14, 15, 16, Article 17, that is a abolition of untouchability. So convincing them that this is against the constitution. So there are both convincing factors as well as the deterrence factors. Convincing that this food is absolutely fine through the method of having a gathering and then convincing them. Second is going and demonstrating that you are consuming from the same. And third is also deterring them that if you continue to this is a form of practice of untouchability in the modern times, and if you continue to do so, you will have to face the consequences. Okay, so यहाँ पे केवल attitudinal change मतलब वो नहीं है. Feasible strategies in the short term जो बोला ना, planned behavior and the law and the code of conduct etc. So both by carrot and stick, you understand? Okay, by convincing as well as by deterrence, you have to involve. In the long run, all these strategies, strategy of persuasion, some role model. Say, for example, any Dalit from that village happen to become a successful person. He has to brought in and has to say to the community, okay, some enlightened citizen of the higher caste. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, half of the parents are not sending. It means that there are certain sane people within the higher caste. So there has to be an interfaith dialogue through which the rest of the higher caste people can convince the other. Then there can be obviously you can say that in the long term of the village, ये जो लिखा है, who says what to whom. So who may credible source and authority, role model, celebrity, what kind of the message, logical message, okay, through the Nukkad Natak and etc. That through the demonstration that nothing is wrong. So in the long run, how you can change the attitude. Are you understanding? So this is third way of asking the question. That is there. Second और एक चीज़ है, यहाँ पे पूछा गया हुआ था. टू 2014 में था वो क्वेश्चन. 673. See, this is very important. If you are taking this lightly, कि question paper नहीं देखना है, whatever the being taught in the class, everything should be looked into the previous year's question paper and syllabus, so that you can able to move ahead with respect to the pattern. विमेन वायलेंस के ऊपर तो हर समय क्वेश्चन रहता है कि हाउ टू चेंज द एटीट्यूड, वो तो कॉमन ही क्वेश्चन है. यस, आई एम रीडिंग द क्वेश्चन जस्ट अगेन. व्हाट आर द फैक्टर्स दैट affect the formation of person attitude towards social problems? This is a straightforward question. What are the factors that affects? Yes, why socialized factors nahi, factors are determinants. Okay, every factor, that is the environment, education, personal experience, और उसमें family, school, peer group, etc. What are the factors that affects the formation of person attitude towards social problems? Second, now social problems लिखा है, इसमें और भी ज़्यादा लिखा जा सकता है. Apart from this personal factors, if you are a part of social problems, what can be the attitude? If you are in third person, what is an attitude? उसमें भी फर्क रहेगा या नहीं रहेगा? Think of a caste discrimination and you belong to the discrimination side. Will your attitude will be a more acute or not? The one who is facing the discrimination. बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स, और आपको थोड़ा सा मतलब आप लॉजिक लगाओगे तो काफ़ी सारे फैक्टर्स आ जाएंगे. अपार्ट सेकेंड क्वेश्चन मतलब उसी में है टेल एंड. इन अवर सोसाइटी देयर इज अ कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड आर प्रिवेलेंट अबाउट द मेनी सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स. What are the contrasting attitude do you notice about the caste system in our society? How do you explain the existence of this contrasting attitudes? Contrasting attitudes क्या लिखना है? Some favor and some disfavor. For some it is a functional significance, for someone it is an hurdles. And why? And in the second you have to write ki why this contrasting attitude exists. Okay, so some which benefits. Now benefits are of two types. Okay, the modern way because of reservation, some are getting benefited. So even the lower caste community is now holding the caste identity because caste identity is helping them. So they are favoring the caste. And the upper caste, okay, those who are enjoying the historic privileges, they are also holding caste system because they are enjoying the historic privileges and the status in a society. On the other side, people from both also holding the thing that caste should go. You can think of the modern youths of India are considering this as a hurdle for the nation building process or establishing equality. Higher castes are thinking that because of reservation, the merit is not being recognized, so they are considering. The lower castes are considering even when they are getting benefited out of reservation, still it is not leading into the complete elimination of their discrimination. The youth, the modern people, more rational, educated people are thinking, like you can link with the intercaste marriages also. Caste has become a problem for the making a choice for शादी. अरे समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? सी ऐसे आप थोड़ा सा और इनोवेटिव आंसर लिखोगे तो वो और ज़्यादा मार्क फेच कर सकते हो. अरे यहाँ पे हंसने का नहीं है, मतलब दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू राइट. दिस इज कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड. और क्यों ऐसे कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग है? सम पीपल आर कंजर्वेटिव, देयरफॉर दे आर होल्डिंग दैट काइंड ऑफ, सम आर मॉडर्न, सम आर with respect to different, there are different contrasting attitude. This is how you have to write the answer. अब इससे ज़्यादा और नहीं बता सकता, मतलब ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं. ये एटीट्यूड चैप्टर है, दैट इज इट. ओके, वी हैव सीन ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द एंगल्स. नाउ वी हैव टू मूव टुवर्ड्स द नेक्स्ट चैप्टर. बट बिफोर दैट थोड़ा सा मैं बता देता हूँ इसके बारे में. दैट इज पॉलिटिकल एंड मॉरल एटीट्यूड. In fact, although the syllabus has mentioned political and moral, but this is the same what we have discussed so far, and you can have any type of adjective and then go for making an adjective like caste attitude, religion attitude. यहाँ पे जो question mention किया है, political attitude and moral attitude. This is specifically added as a part of syllabus for two reasons. Because this is from the civil servant's point of view. So we are a part of governance. So as a part, how an individual look towards the political system, governance, political system. That's why the political attitude and moral attitude, because this, one of the objective of adding this paper 4 is that you should be more moral and ethical in orientation. So this chapter is trying to see how you look towards the politics, governance and the whole system of administration. And or not only you, but also the public. What are the variety of different political attitudes that exist, and what are the variety of different attitudes that people have towards the right and wrong. Okay, to what extent they uphold that ethical principles are important part of life. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो उसमें ये आ जाएगा, जैसे मॉरल एटीट्यूड है, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम हाउ यू लुक एट द मोरालिटी. सम पीपल विल से दैट मोरालिटी इज एसेंस ऑफ लाइफ, वन शुड हैव अ गुड थिंग. सम पीपल विल थिंक दैट मोरालिटी एज अ हर्डल. टुडे देयर इज अ globalization and fast-paced world. In the fast-paced world, if you focus upon the ethics and morality, we will be left behind. इनफैक्ट दिस वाज अ क्वेश्चन इन 2014 ये क्वेश्चन लिखा हुआ था. ओके, वी विल डिस्कस सम अदर क्लास, बिकॉज एक दिया है ना उस लिस्ट ऑफ, उसमें करप्शन एटीट्यूड दिया हुआ है. करप्शन एटीट्यूड इज बिकॉज इन इंडिया द वे वी लुक एट द करप्शन is a thing that is one of the reason for why we have the corruption. Corruption has got mainstream in India. Mainstream in India, it means that if you really want to move ahead in the fast-paced life, somewhere you have to make a compromises. And this compromise that has led to mainstreaming of corruption. Corruption, we, like say for example, if there is a rape or any heinous crime, we feel very bad about it. And suddenly we take candlelight march, etc. We protest, etc., etc. But when there is a corruption, it's almost an accepted phenomena in India, because we blame the system is corrupt, therefore we have to give the bribe. The procedure are complex, therefore we have to give the bribe. If you want to bypass the complex procedures and get your job done in a shorter span of time, you have to give a bribe. So this is how the moral attitude, that morality has not been an essence, and we have generally adopted the utilitarian approach towards morality. When it is a matter of convenience, we adopt morality, but in some cases when it is not a convenient, then we should compromise, and that we generally term as a little compromise. Okay? So this is one thing. Somebody who will have that morality should be observed, somebody will say morality is a matter of convenience. ये दो एटीट्यूड हो गए. ये किसके ऊपर डिपेंड होगा? आपकी कैसे वैल्यू सिस्टम है. आपकी वैल्यू सिस्टम बहुत स्ट्रांग है कि ऑनेस्टी, इंटीग्रिटी, these are very very important learning lessons of your lives from your parents and school, you will be more moral. If there is no emphasis on these things, then you are sort of making an compromises. This is the first thing. Second thing, अगर समझो आप morality को अपहोल्ड कर रहे हो, तो उसमें भी अलग अलग आ जाएंगे प्रकार कि कोई डिओंटोलॉजी दैट इज बेस्ड अपॉन द मीन्स वी शुड थिंक अबाउट मोरालिटी. समबडी विल से दैट बेस्ड अपॉन द एंड्स वी शुड थिंक अबाउट मोरालिटी. There can be somebody who thinks that duty should be our consideration. Somebody will say that right should be our consideration. We should ask for the rights, and rights is our morality. Okay, Gandhi has said that when you think about the rights, before that you must think about your duties, what you do. In fact, there is a John F. Kennedy's famous statement is there. Ask not what we, yes, ask not what the country is doing for you, ask what you are doing for the country. So before you ask from the country's benefits, okay, you should also think about what you do for your country. So if this kind of attitude will be there, you will have a moral duty towards. So this is an open-ended topic. I'm just giving you the hint. So when we talk about the morality, what sort of public attitude, people's attitude to look at the morality is the same. जैसे लिस्ट दिया है, हर एक का कितना कितना अलग अलग contrasting attitude है. With respect to political attitude, we have discussed, first there will be total despise of politics to the politics as a good thing. Then once the politics as a good thing, within that there can be a contrast, leftist, rightist, etc., etc. Or for that matter, your attitude with respect to what is your political ideology. If at all you are considering politics is a good thing, then within that good thing there can be again different shades. समझ में आ रहा है, नहीं आ रहा है? ठीक है. So any kind of adjective and issue can be added, and you have to think about and brainstorm about different sorts of attitude that exist towards a particular issue. Okay, political attitude में मैं थोड़ा सा आपको समझा देता हूँ, because वो जो left and right का concept है, okay, that has to be very well understood. ये जो spectrum जो रहता है पूरा, okay, let's talk about this whole spectrum. Political attitude पे, this is a center. This whole spectrum is left. This whole spectrum is right. Okay, then we are saying this center left जैसे बोलते हैं, और center right, or left liberal and left right. This is an extreme form of right and extreme form of left. So this all sort of, this is a complete domain of what are the different sort of attitude with respect to political. Now when we say about पहले मैं राइट और लेफ्ट की इन जनरल बात करूंगा और फिर उसमें जो है डिग्रीज रहेगा, जो ओनली डिफर इन डिग्रीज। जैसे वर्ड यहाँ पे रहेगी सोशलिज्म, यहाँ पे communism. Okay, I'll explain. Still there are certain differences here. Liberalism center में आ जाएगा more. It's a more towards the capitalism. This is fascism. Okay, and here we'll discuss about what is the character of center. Now when we say about this, यहाँ से यहाँ तक केवल डिग्री में चेंज है. Okay, there are certain things which are common to right. Okay, so write the features of rightist ideology or right. I'll explain the shades. I will explain later on. First right and left के बारे में, क्योंकि उसमें केवल डिग्रीज में डिफरेंस है. Yes, what do you say when we say about the right? What are the features of rightist ideology or rightist, what they believe in and what is their political attitude? Conservative. Okay, okay, first do not write, I am just writing here conservative. Okay, fine. Centralizing. Yes, what else? Individual. There has to be some और बताइए. Yes, favoritism. How favoritism? In what sense? Okay, I'll discuss about it. How it can be articulated. Yes. What else? Yes. Anybody from political science? Profit motivation. I'll again write here. What else? Concentration of resources. Okay. What is right? Rightist. What is different? Wholes as in what sense? I didn't get you. Rigid ideology. Extremist सभी में आ जाएगा. What is extremist? What do you want to say? So that is about conservatism. Conservatism means to conserve. Okay, now let's discuss. See, whenever we use the term rights, okay, that is the one word, that is a conservatist. Now conservatist, first let's understand what is this word conservatist. Conservatist means to conserve or preserve whatever the current system is. That's why they are called traditional, they are called status quoist. Okay, so one and the same, ये चारों word एक ही है, rightist, conservatives, traditional or traditionist or status quoist. Now let's see that what are the feature, why they are called so. So conservative, traditional, status quoist इसलिए कहा जाता है because there is a present system of hierarchy. First of all, so this is a single most important thing that you have to remember in case of rightist. Okay, there is a hierarchy and they believe that there exists a hierarchy in a society. Okay, there exists in hierarchy and this hierarchy is based upon different social status, etc. So there will be a people at the bottom of pyramid, there will be a middle people, and there will be a people who are having the higher status. So why they are called conservative? Because they want to maintain the hierarchy. Okay, that's why they are called conservative, traditional or status quo. Status quo means they are rigid to the change. That's why we bring, somebody has said about the rigidity. Now this hierarchy, now they believe that there are different people exist in the society and therefore as per the different people there should be different hierarchy. Hierarchy is basically related with this, there are different status. So concentration of authority and the power is a feature here. Concentration of authority or power. There is a more and more tendency towards centralization. there is more tendency towards centralization. These are the features. Let's think of like UK society, okay, United Kingdom in the past. So generally this word rightist and the conservative goes to the United Kingdom. So think of this monarchical form of government. They do not actually believe in the democracy. The more rightist you go, the more there will be a centralization of authority. So concentration of power, centralization of authority, hierarchy. So these group of people believes in something where a monarchy should rule, and the rest of, say they believe in there are certain masses and there are certain elites. So rule by oligarchy or monarchy. They believe in oligarchy or monarchy. Oligarchy and monarchy. Now ये इसके features है: hierarchy, concentration of power and authority, centralization, monarchy and oligarchy. Now they want to conserve this system. That's why they are called status quoist. Any kind of a change, okay, they see that is against this hierarchy, concentration of power, centralization and this thing, and therefore they are called status quoist. Status quoist because they are resistance to the change. Okay, they want to preserve the certain situation. They believe in essentially that the people are different, and therefore depending upon that they should enjoy the different status. That's why they are called conservative. Conservative क्योंकि जो given system है, it is in the favor of. In fact, this conservative is by this group of people. These people are not conservative in a sense, because a present system of hierarchy is in favor of upper class. Are you understanding? This is in favor of the upper class. That's why they hold. Now see the thing here. I will talk about the shades later on. Now write the left, what they represent. हाँ yes, इसको ही थोड़ा सा रिवर्स कर देना है. Yes, first yes, tell me what are the features. Egalitarian. Patriarchal. No, patriarchal is not a feature. Egalitarian means what? Equality. Establishing the equality. I'll write it later. First बताइए आपको क्या क्या पता है लेफ्ट के बारे में. Yes. हाँ? Welfare. Okay. I will put a star mark. Welfare of what kind? Huh? In fact, that is where we'll discuss status quo versus change, or equal distribution of resources, और जस्टिस सब में है, लेकिन थियरी ऑफ जस्टिस इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम डिफरेंट. यहाँ पे भी जस्टिस है, लेकिन यहाँ पे ये जस्टिस है कि कुछ एक लोगों को डिपेंडिंग अपॉन देयर स्टेटस वो मिलना चाहिए. ओके, सो वी विल सी द आइडिया ऑफ जस्टिस हाउ इट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम बोथ. ओके, लेट्स सी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दिस पॉइंट. सी द थिंग इज लेफ्ट हाउ see the thing is, now think of this hierarchy. Now how this group of people look at this hierarchical system. Those people who are any kind of a given system which is hierarchical is going to benefit this. So these people will try to conserve it. That's why they are called conservatists. But from their point of view, this hierarchical system is not beneficial. Okay, therefore this is a rise against the hierarchical system. So first point is they are not status quoist. They consider that present system of hierarchy is not beneficial for this group of people. So they talk about the change. Okay, so when we say about this, the first most important point is change. Now there are different shades. Shades in a sense that somebody will talk about the revolution, somebody will talk about reformation. Both are change, but one is a violent change. Okay, we'll discuss the shades. Violent change, and this is called reformation. Okay, what are the different degrees of changes? Second is, here come your concentration of authority. Second, यहाँ पे क्या रहेगा concentration की जगह? Decentralization. So right? In fact, एक ही point है ये दोनों चीज़ों का. Decentralization. Decentralization of authority, decentralization of resources. Okay. Oligarchy की जगह क्या रहेगा? Democracy. अरे monarchy कैसे आ जाएगा? Monarchy is more concentration. they favor more democracy. Fourth is with respect to, yes, somebody has talked about resources. यहाँ पे भी वो concentration of resources है, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या रहेगा? Equitable distribution of resources. समझ में आ रहा है? Equitable distribution of resources. Equitable distribution of resources, or in fact in a more radical manner they go for even the community ownership of resources. और ज़्यादा radical हो जाएंगे तो वो क्या बोलेंगे कि there will be a community ownership of resources. So let's see. So this will we see where is the idea of the state. Now see, for some group of people, the state is an authority. When they talk about rightist, state represents the concentration of power in case of rightist. Since it represents the concentration of power, therefore let's say that state is helping the right people in order to conserve this system. Therefore the extreme left will say that we want to create a stateless and classless society. Stateless and classless society. Extreme, I am saying. Extreme people, what is their vision? Stateless and classless. Now, many times we generally tend to think this is an anarchy. Yes, certainly, when we say that stateless society is an anarchy. But here the idea is, because the assumption of state here is, the state is an institution which is an arbitrary and favoring one section of society, from their point of view. Are you understanding? From their point of view, because state perpetuate this hierarchical structure, that's why we want to create a stateless society. Second thing, if we take into account some liberal perspective, यहाँ पे वो बोलते हैं कि state is इनका जो कहना है कि we are not exploitative, but state is act as a equilibrium to distribute the resources. That's also correct from their point of view. State is a equilibrium who takes the taxes and distribute the resources or subsidies towards the weaker section of the society. If this sort of idea is there, they are moving towards this side. Okay, here more exploitative state. Fascism में समझ में आ रहा है? It's an extreme form. It's an extreme form of centralization, extreme form of hierarchy, concentration of power, centralization, oligarchy रहेगी नहीं, total monarch, state and corporate is exhausted. थोड़ा सा और आ जाएगा तो वो capitalism हो जाएगा, थोड़ा और आ जाएगा तो welfare state हो सकता है यहाँ पे. State will act as a equilibrium. यहाँ पे वैसे ही है, इट इज़ कम्प्लीटली अ स्टेटलेस सोसाइटी. बट यहाँ पे जो है स्टेटलेस आपको इसलिए समझना है क्योंकि स्टेटलेस यहाँ पे स्टेट का एजम्पशन ये था कि स्टेट इज़ ए एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव इंस्टीट्यूशन. स्टेट इज़ हेल्पिंग ओनली elite group or the people who are in the authority so as to pursue. In fact, the Karl Marx has stated a statement that state is nothing but the instrument in the hands of bourgeois class or capitalist class. Okay, so capitalist class is using state as a tool in order to further their interest. So therefore he has talked about the stateless society. Second thing, why stateless is important or why there is a stateless society, because this point, यहाँ पे तो हम इक्विटेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कार्ल मार्क्स ने कम्युनिटी ओनरशिप ऑफ रिसोर्सेज की बात की है. जब कम्युनिटी ओनरशिप रहेगी, सब कम्युनिटी का रहेगा, तो स्टेट इज नॉट रिक्वायर. स्टेट इज रिक्वायर्ड बिकॉज इक्विटेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस फैक्ट? तो यहाँ पे जो है स्टेटलेस और क्लासलेस की बात हो रही है. बट थोड़ा सा और कम सोशलिस्ट रहेंगे तो यहाँ पे वो स्टेटलेस की नहीं बात करते, यहाँ पे वो बात करते हैं स्टेट कैन बी यूज्ड एज अ medium in order to create decentralization, democracy, equilibrium, etc., etc. This requires a violent revolution. This requires a reformation. That rather than considering state as a exploitative institution, can we convert state as an institution which help in bridging the gaps in between rich and poor? Okay, can we make the state more welfare state? Can we make the state more democratic? Because state की नेचर कैसे चेंज किया जा सकता है, rather than they are being an appointees of monarch and oligarch, we can make a democracy. Okay, through the ballot box we can change the nature, because there will be a more people's representative and this state will be a more welfare state. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है कैसे फर्क है? Okay, so ultimately the more you move towards this side, you will find the features of decentralization, democracy, equitable and this thing. More you move towards this, these are the features. why we are putting both extreme is not correct, because the Karl Marx and this have said that about the violent revolution. Okay, so this also, like, generally we do not understand communism because of we have this Stalin in our mind. Okay, Stalinism and this Lenin and etc. So during the time of Stalin, what has happened? In fact, Stalin has harmed more to the concept of socialism and communism, because Stalin, under the disguise of word socialism and communism, they continue to perpetuate violence and atrocity against their own people. In fact, they become an oligarch in the Russia. यही सिचुएशन आ गई, वहाँ पे भी हायरार्की क्रिएट हो गई. दैट इज अ कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ रशिया, और फॉर दैट मैटर इन केस ऑफ माओ, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ चाइना. So why the world has failed to understand the theme of socialism is because how the socialism happened in case of China and Russia, if you take that as a model, that model is far from what is the concept of socialism. Are you understanding? Because when the Mao and this thing have become, they have created in fact the hierarchy. In fact, the hierarchy was so strong, it was not a liberal capitalism or liberal socialism, it was like a fascism. That Stalin, one person, one order, one party. What was in fascism? Hitler and Nazism and National Party. So Hitler was extreme of this, and the Stalin was extreme of that. So somewhere when you take about, you have to be something which is close to the welfare state. Okay, welfare state is where we can have that both state as an institution, but state is neither exploitative and nor it is completely abolished, but state is a welfare state and welfare of each one. Welfare of each one, so he will adopt the criteria of equity. Equity means depending upon the capacity of different person, there will be redistribution of resources, जिसको बोला जाता है. Redistribution of resources में क्या है? Progressive taxation as a policy. How progressive taxation? Progressive taxation में क्या रहता है? Yes, as you are increase in income, you pay more taxes, and yes, this can be distributed or redistributed through in the form of different subsidies and different welfare schemes. ये जो MG नरेगा, National Rural Health Mission, NRHM, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, etc., etc. So here the state is more a central and equilibrium state. Here it is also a welfare state in a sense that the state who has adopted the principles of socialistic goals. In fact, this Nehruvian method of socialism is falling here. It is called Fabian socialism. Okay, Fabian socialism is the idea where it's not a stateless. It's a state which can be used, like say for example, Indira Gandhi has gone for abolition of privy purse, nationalization of bank. Can you think how it is becoming more rightist towards going to the more socialist? Because privy purse kya tha? That some of the people who are enjoying the historic status in the society based upon their princely states, they were continued to enjoy certain privileges. Okay, this was the arrangement which was happened during the time of independence when there is a integration of different state was going on. So some carrot is given to them that we will continue to pay you. So this system was in favor of them. Nationalization of bank is also how it is moving towards the socialism from the hierarchy. How? Yes, concentration of wealth. One of the most important factor for nationalization of bank is redistribution of wealth, and there should not be concentration of wealth. Okay, so today's state in modern time is mostly the welfare state or basis of the equality. अभी जो जितने भी welfare programs हैं, okay, under the NDA government, okay, that is working in the interest of public. So those welfare program qualifies toward the state. But if you run towards more, like यहाँ पे जो capitalism में क्या रहेगा? If you are favoring the features of crony capitalism, what do you understand crony capitalism? Not one person, but there is a yes, few people. If there is a favoritism for a specific group of people, okay, so that is called as the crony capitalism. The more you go, crony capitalism in a sense that specific few within the, see the thing is there are, you should not take capitalism and crony capitalism as the same. Okay, so capitalism में ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि 100 and thousands of different corporate are existing and you are using the merit as a criteria to award a contract. And second is you choose a specific few, 4, 5, 10, whatever depending upon your favoritism. So crony capitalism is a nexus in between capitalist class to favor one group of capitalists over the other. So that's the moment you more move towards it, the capitalism fascism. This is the economic side. Cultural and societal side, you will see in case of conservative tendencies, that is this Khaf Panchayat and this thing. Why they are called conservatists and rightists? Because they want to preserve and conserve the culture of the past. Here there will be more equality, that everybody is equal. The more you move towards the center, every single individual is equal. This hierarchy is not there. I hope the points are clear. Okay. So these are the different types of political attitudes. There can be a range of political attitudes that exist towards looking at different concepts. Liberty. वहाँ पे क्या रहेगा? उस साइड में liberty is all are equal. Egalitarian society, equality. यहाँ पे क्या रहेगा? Order and obedience. Command and obedience, you understand? Somebody has to give a command and somebody has to obey. Okay, so this tendencies of this we see, that's why it is called traditional. Traditional, they want to maintain the traditional culture. Conservative, they want to maintain the conservative. They are status quo, they do not want to change and they want to maintain the authority. So centralizing tendency is this and decentralizing is that. But again, both of them, कभी-कभी इसको horseshoe shape में लिखा जाता है. Horseshoe shape में इसलिए लिखा जाता है क्योंकि features of communism in case of Stalin becomes more violent. समझ में आ रहा है? कम्युनिज्म के फीचर जो स्टालिन के टाइम में थे वो वायलेंट थे, दोज वर इक्वली वायलेंट एज दैट ऑफ फासिज्म फीचर इन टाइम ऑफ हिटलर. सो ये हॉर्शू बनाया इसलिए जाता है ताकि कम्युनिज्म और फासिज्म में यहाँ पे फिर से लिबर्टी कर्ब हो जाती है. लेकिन कम्युनिज्म एज एन आइडिया में कर्ब नहीं होती है, बट कम्युनिज्म द वे इट हैज़ बिन प्रैक्टिस इट हैज़ गॉट के चेंज. इंडिया में और ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट है अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए, क्योंकि कंजर्वेटिव जब हम वर्ड आता है वो हमें CPIM CPIM वगैरह दिखाई देते हैं. एक्चुअली वो रॉन्ग है कॉन्सेप्चुअली. ओके, अब जैसे वेस्ट बंगाल में देखोगे तो वो कंजर्वेटिव है. वी से दैट कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया एंड कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया मार्क्सिस्ट. वी हैव दैट थिंग, दैट्स व्हाई वी फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो गेट आउट ऑफ इट एज एन आइडिया. Communism, socialism is more progressive because they are for change. But since our idea is linked to that particular party, therefore we are failing to understand. And right is to conserve it. But in any modern society now you will see that it's very difficult to classify because more there is a moving towards the centralization. Okay, centralization in the form of welfare state. So as a point, when the question is asked what are the different types of political attitude, that how public have a different sorts of attitude based upon their socialization and etc. They have different ways of interpretation. Is that fine? Okay, so that's how you have to remember. Yes. Socialism is a broad word. Communism is one variant of socialism. So इसलिए मैंने पहले समझाया that is this is all feature of socialism. Socialism is simply that establish the equality. Equality in a sense that formal equality नहीं है, substantive equality. Substantive equality मतलब क्या रहती है? जितनी power है, every single person is capable of ruling. So decentralization of authority and power. In terms of economic resources also there should be equal distribution. समझ में आ रहा है? दो चीज़ें हैं. One is about political power, second is about economic resources. Political power should also be equally distributed and economic resources should also be equally distributed. Now why Marx is written as a communist in the extreme? Because he said that this change has to be brought through the violent revolution. That's why we are putting him in an extreme. The same thing will be said by somebody else like Fabian socialist and different kinds of socialists. They are saying that the change can be brought through the democratic methods rather than the violent methods. Violent methods में केवल मार्क्स नहीं आएगा, मार्क्स भी है, माओ भी है. Mao is also favored the same, that is a violent, that is a revolution is a midwife of change. Okay, you cannot separate change and revolution. If you want to bring the change, you have to bring the revolution. So Marx and Mao will be an extreme. And here थोड़ा सा जैसे ये पूरा socialism ही है. This is a मतलब if we are why we are not going in more technical, because this is more of a academic theories. ये पूरा सोशलिज्म है. सोशलिज्म का वन वेरिएंट है कम्युनिज्म, विच इज अ वायलेंट रिवोल्यूशन, विच इज फेवर्ड बाय मार्क्स एंड माओ. द लेस variant, rather than violent change, we can make a piecemeal and democratic change. Piecemeal and democratic change, that we change the structure of state rather than being an exploitative towards the more service oriented. So that becomes a Fabian socialism. समझ में आया? So that's central is more about that which is working for the interest of all. The more you come here, then more and more towards the centralization, preservation, and etc. Is it fine? All of you have understood? Please ask, otherwise these are very important things for your, in fact this chapter is there in your history also. Okay, paper 1 में अगर देखा है, हाँ. हिटलर है, मुसोलिनी है. स्टेटलेस सोसाइटी कंप्लीट स्टेटलेस नहीं है ना, हुई नहीं है. नहीं पॉसिबल. देखो ये विजन है, मैं बताता हूँ कैसे विजन है कि कम्यून है. कम्यून समझते हो, एक लोकल लेवल पे कम्यून है जिसमें आपको इसलिए स्टेट नहीं चाहिए बिकॉज आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग इतनी ज़्यादा डेवलप हुई है कि एवरीबडी विल वर्क एंड एवरीबडी विल टेक what is needed for him. Therefore you do not require a state. So that vision has not came into being. What has came into being in case of this China, Russia, or for that matter Cuba, that Fidel Castro also, okay, they are revolutionary, but at the end of the day they have used the body of the state in order to perpetuate their interests also. Okay, from some angle obviously they are revolutionary, they have done something in order to abolish the discrimination in one way, but during the transition they have created a lot of hope. After transition again they started perpetuating their own interests. तो उसका natural outcome और आगे जाके ये था कि stateless, classless, and they should have worked relentlessly for the sake of people. But that has not happened. They become a sort of dictator. If you see from the different perspectives and the stories in case of Stalin, you will see that equal number of atrocities as that of the Hitler have been committed. So socialism is an idea which is still searching for its place to get realized. Okay, if you are a revolutionary, then think of it, but do not be a dictator. Okay, ultimately socialism बहुत अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन at the end of the day what the Hobbes has said, that every man is a self-centric. Okay, revolution तब तक करो जब तक आपको फेवर में हो रहा है. Once you get the power, then concentrate your power. बहुत फेमस है अभी जो, मतलब ये सोशलिज्म से रिलेटेड नहीं है. आंध्र प्रदेश में ये जो तेलंगाना के चीफ मिनिस्टर है, ठीक है, क्या नाम है इनका, केसीआर. क्या है न्यूज़ उनकी अभी? घर बनाया है उन्होंने. घर बनाया है, कितने करोड़ का घर है? 38 करोड़. यस, 38-40 करोड़, जिसमें बाथरूम क्या बनाए हुए हैं? बाथरूम भी बुलेट प्रूफ बनाए हुए हैं. ठीक है. नाउ थिंक ऑफ, यस दैट्स द थिंग. In fact, if you will see, okay, this is a 3-4 days before की news है. Okay, 8 acre areas, 1 lakh square feet acre मतलब areas में उन्होंने घर बनाया है. The one who was fighting on the street few days back is now this become the aspect. तो जो रहता है सोशलिज्म, अल्टीमेट सोशलिज्म अगर वो करना है, so their concentration of properties against the principle of socialism. There is a equality. But ultimately equality become a utilitarian approach. Under the name of equality you woo the people and then you become a dictator later on. इंडिया सेंट्रल में पुट करो और क्या है, बट ये पूल होता रहता है. अब जैसे बीजेपी और ये है थोड़ा सा सेंट्रलिस्ट है, और बाकी जो है हाँ सूडो सेकुलर भी रहते हैं और वो भी रहते हैं, उधर पोस्ट करता है. सक्सेसफुल से डिपेंड्स अपॉन हाउ डू यू मेंटेन. इनके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ये करना सक्सेस है. अब सक्सेस का क्राइटेरिया अगर ये लग रहे हो तो डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स जाएगा ना. नेक्स्ट क्लास में बात करते हैं. व्हाट आर द पैरामीटर्स ऑफ सक्सेस, दैट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. ओके, ठीक है.